One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet humiliate. One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Trump, everybody they know, they gon' vote for Donald Trump, that's the way it goes. All over America, all over the USA, they voted for Donald Trump, that's what I'm trying to say. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. I want to make America great again.
Woo!
I want to lower the taxes. I want to bring all American business back from overseas back to the USA, baby.
There we go.
Ooh, yeah, Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everybody can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country.
All right, what's up, everybody, for the nighttime edition. Once in a while, I got to play my old Bahamian or Jamaican guys or wherever they're from. Got to bring them back when I need a little extra time to get things together. Because tonight I was doing some stuff and I realized I got a package, which I'm going to, talk to you about. But I got the, when it's time, I got the big, giant, fluffy, warm, not that we need this much, maybe after I get out of the pool down here, but I got the new Trump blanket in the mail today. And here it is. That is the Trump blanket. Want everybody to see it. Yeah, you guys know I'm a big guy. And maybe I'll just do the show like this tonight until I get too sweaty. Maybe I'll just keep the President of the United seal on me. And just like make you guys jealous, those of you guys who are up in the cold temperatures, because I'm like all bundled and snuggled up here. Yeah, and I think you can get this free too. I'm not sure when it comes time for me to do it. I'll debut it, but this thing is nice fleecy. Nice. Sitting by the television under the air conditioning. I might have to just go ahead and bring this out there with me. Y'all can carry on yourselves here. I'm just going to stay wrapped up in this blanket for a little while, and then I'll come back and talk to you about some of the craziness the Democrats are doing. But just kind of tired. Nighttime, long day.
Impeachment is imminent. The filing of articles of impeachment is imminent. We are currently in a countdown to impeachment. Now, those who know me know that I wouldn't say this if I were not going to move on with it. So I don't know what you have up your sleeve, but I do know that we will prevent you from having a third term. And the best way to do it is to not have you finish this term. And the best way to do this is to have you impeached and convicted and removed from office. It can be done. I'm telling you it can be done. The law says it can be done. We but only have to have the will to do it. The way is before us. The will is what is necessary to implement the way to an impeachment and a removal of Donald John Trump as President of the United States of America.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
I wanted to let that one set the mood for the rest of the evening, because we're going to talk about the absolute insanity of what these people are doing. But, before we get there, let me just show you something that's been going on since we last spoke that should make these people go even crazier tomorrow. They're probably bouncing off the walls tonight. Boom. Breaking just, about 7 o'clock, just about half an hour ago. Mexico owes Texas 1.3 million acre-feet of water under the 1944 Water Treaty. I have no idea what the hell that means, but some of you guys who live in Texas near the Water Treaty area, you must know. But Mexico is unfortunately violating their treaty obligation. This is very unfair, and it is hurting South Texas farmers very badly. Last year, the only sugar mill in Texas closed because Mexico has been stealing the water from Texas farmers. Ted Cruz has been leading the fight to get South Texas the water it is owed, but Sleepy Joe refused to lift a finger to help the farmers. Surprised? That ends now. I will make sure Mexico doesn't violate our treaties and doesn't hurt our Texas farmers. Just last month, I halted water shipments to Tijuana until Mexico complies with the 1944 Water Treaty. My Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins, is standing up for Texas farmers, and she will keep escalating consequences, including tariffs and maybe even sanctions, until Mexico honors the treaty and gives Texas the water they owed. You would think that about this point right now, with everything going on, that these countries would realize this guy's not fooling around. He's pulling no punches. He's telling you straight up, yeah, I'm coming for you. And if you treat America badly, we're absolutely done with you. Done. And so I'm not sure why Mexico is slow to get anything done, but that's okay. You better get on it, Mexico. You hear what China's going through, and the American people at this point are loving it. Democrats, not so much, but there's nothing they can do about it. That's why I did my thumbnail with him carrying the bat. Maybe some of you are old enough to remember Walking Tall. And what was the guy's name? Buford T. Pusser. And I just loved that movie. Loved that movie. And how, that had the baseball bat scene in it, and the Al Capone Untouchables had the baseball bat scene in it. This guy's not taking any crap from anybody. And the Democrats, I don't know how stupid you must be to watch MSNBC and think you're getting real news. How idiotic you must feel when you watch that show and you feel good. Oh yeah, we got him now. No, we didn't get him. No. Oh, we got him no, he didn't. Oh, this will really sink him. And over and over and over again. And not only is he not playing around, the entire administration, the cabinet, they're not playing around. It just seems like, what are we at? We're at 7:40 right now. And most people probably think that, we kind of kicked in for the rest of the day. We're cool. Let's check out. No. He posted this at 7, and then Pete Hegseth, even though they were at the cabinet meeting, SV sent me the link to this. I'm gonna let Pete tell you what he just did. Now.
All right, we're back with another update on cutting wasteful spending here at DoD, and this one is, as they say, a big one. This is a big day. We're signing a memo right now directing the termination of $5.1 billion in DoD contracts. Not million, that's with a B. $5.1 billion in DoD contracts for ancillary things like consulting and other non-essential services. So here's a few examples. DHA contracts for consulting services from Accenture, Deloitte, Booz Allen, and other firms. They're going to save the department $1.8 billion. How about a software reseller contract for enterprise cloud IT services, saving the department $1.4 billion. A $500 million Navy contract for business process consulting. Again, process, lots of consultant. For administrative offices in the Bureau of Medicine. By the way, we need this money to spend on better health care for our warfighters and their families instead of $500 an hour business process consultant. That's a lot of consulting. How about this? A DARPA contract for IT help desk services that are completely duplicative with services already provided by our DISA workforce, saving the department another $500 million. We're also terminating on the DEI front, 11 more contracts for DEI, climate, COVID-19 response, and related non-essential activities across the department. We are committed to rooting out DEI, root and branch throughout this department, and we found 11 more contracts, and we're going to keep looking. So that's $5.1 billion in DoD contracts we're getting rid of. On top of that, in support of the president's priorities to stop federal funding for academic institutions that tolerate anti-Semitism and support divisive DEI programs, this week DoD is also pausing over $500 million in funding to Northwestern University and Cornell University, and that's on top of the $70 million in funding we've already paused at Columbia, Penn, Brown, and Princeton over the last few weeks, as if any of these institutions need more government money at all. So, for you're keeping score at home, today's cuts bring our running total to nearly $6 billion in wasteful spending over the first 6 weeks of the DoD DOGE effort here at the Defense Department. Their job is to go out and find the stuff that we can get rid of and then flow back into, drive back into warfighting capabilities here at the Defense Department. So we want to thank our friends at DOGE. We want to thank all the folks here that have helped us unpack this, reveal it, and we're excited to make these cuts on behalf of you, the taxpayer, and the warfighters here at the department. Thanks.
See, that's what I told you guys. Again, be a little patting on the shoulder here. That's why it's going to be easy for Elon Musk to move away. Elon Musk was the investigator. He was the guy they brought in, go find everything you can. And now these, the secretaries in the cabinet, these are the guys who are actually now going to make stuff happen. What did you find, Elon? Well, we found all this stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll get rid of it. And that's their job. And if there's any fraud with it, then it becomes Pam Bondi's job. But you're seeing that it's obvious as these things continue to be released almost on a daily basis. This isn't an easy task. They're going through these stuff one after the other. Today you heard about the future babies that are on unemployment today. It doesn't seem like there was a single agency, department in the government that has been running honest books. You can't have this much incompetence. You can't possibly. This was an intentional assault on America. It was an intentional fraud upon the taxpayer, you. And there's only so much, I'm telling you, because I'm feeling it already. I'm hearing there's only so much people are going to take here. When you're hearing these kind of numbers, like, what'd you find? Another 6 billion? Billion. At this point, 6 billion doesn't even sound like a lot of money. You're going to have people going, yeah, get back to me when you're up to like 20 or 30. Because 6 billion, we're seeing that everywhere. It just doesn't give you any confidence in what went on. And meanwhile, the Democrats are out there acting like, it's all Trump and Elon's fault. And, you people don't really understand. This is government. And they're spending their time on such bull crap. Like that guy's like, we're going to impeach him to make sure he doesn't have another term. What? What are you talking about? So they're trying to play catch up in so many areas. And again, everything seems to be, grounded on the fact of let's try and make the people who are stupid stupider, and then they won't understand what's really going on. But that's not working. Listen to this.
This bill could force Georgians to pay more than $700 million just to register to vote. Y'all, that's the poll tax, plain and simple. And it's blatant voter suppression. Voter suppression by any other name.
Mr. Speaker,
time has expired.
could I yield?
The gentleman from New York?
Yes, sir. I'd like to yield an additional 30 seconds to
the gentleman has extended. The gentlewoman from Georgia, 30 seconds.
Voter suppression by any other name is still voter suppression. This bill violates the 14th, 19th, and 24th Amendments, and is also every tenet of a free and inclusive democracy. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this disgrace of a voter suppression bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Now understand, this is the SAVE Act. And the SAVE Act that went to a vote today was to stop newcomers from being able to vote. That's what it is. Make America, you have to be here to vote. That seems like it's the most simplistic thing you could agree on. Nope. They're mad because they're saying that, oh no, if you make people have to show ID to prove who they are, oh, it's voter suppression. To who? That may have worked, 15 years ago. But now, with today's technology and how you can get ID and what you have to do, if you don't have ID right now, you don't want ID. You want to be in the shadows. And then we find out, oh yeah, they gave out 1 million or 2 million social security numbers to help facilitate people to get ID so that they could vote. The entire scam was in place, and they didn't expect President Trump to win.
California.
Thank you. Thank you, Ranking Member Morelli. I rise in strong opposition to the so-called SAVE Act, a bill that is a modern-day poll tax targeting American women and low-income Americans. This bill bans voter ID. It bans using driver's licenses as voter ID unless they're backed by additional proof of citizenship, a requirement that excludes nearly all driver's licenses and real IDs issued today. Now, for women who have changed their names, often through marriage, this means showing a passport or a birth certificate that may not match their legal name. That would have meant that my grandmother, who had long since lost her birth certificate, would have been ineligible to vote under this bill. In California alone, that would include more than 7 million.
She looks like she's, 40? So maybe her grandmother, if she was still alive, would be 100 and something? That's not who they're talking about, honey. They're talking about people today. Not your grandmother. Back when, they had horse and buggies.
women. Now, this would force those women to pay $130 just to get a passport they need to vote. With nearly a third of Californians lacking passports, this bill would cost them more than $1.25 billion statewide. If you have to pay to vote, that's called a poll tax, plain and simple. It is also unnecessary red tape for people just trying to cast a ballot. This is a bill in search of a problem. We have enough trouble getting American citizens to vote.
Oh, they're freaking out. Absolutely freaking out. And you know why they're freaking out? Because they're caught. They understand right now that we know, and you know we know that y'all cheated and have been cheating and have been fraudulently hurting America for years. SV just sent me this link that popped up just now from George. It says, Wisconsin, this is why all of America begged you to show up and vote to flip your state Supreme Court. The liberal justices on the court are covering up the election fraud in your state. And he's referring to this piece. Yashuda Miller says he was denied. The Supreme Court in Wisconsin is denying me access to records from the 2020 election. And all they did is come up with a very quick information that said, it is ordered that you go away. Your petition's denied. We're not even going to look at it. So you know what comes next in Wisconsin. Because election is federal, you're going to have Pam Bondi and everybody else swooping in. But the fact of the matter is, this guy can't get access to the records because people didn't get out and vote. Or if they did, you know some shenanigans may went on. And so now they're going to keep trying to perpetuate the fraud. Same old, same old.
Speaker, gentlewoman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in strong support as a woman and as the chairwoman of the Republican Women's Caucus, not only just for election integrity, but clearly literacy, because y'all have not read the bill. That much is clear. This bill is very, very simple. It ensures that only American citizens can vote in our federal elections. This isn't hard. 87% of Americans agree that only Americans should vote in our elections. So it makes me wonder, why are my friends on the other side of the aisle always consistently looking for ways to ensure that illegals can vote in our elections? It's almost as though they have an ulterior motive. You have to show an ID to board a plane, to buy alcohol, to cash a check. You have to show an ID to buy cold medicine, for God's sakes. Why should people not have to verify their citizenship to register? And I say to register because my friend over here keeps pointing out that women in every single congressional district will have to provide proof of their name change in order to vote. Folks, read the bill, page 14. If you are registering to vote, there is a process by which the states establish. If you are already registered to vote, you are fine. Read the bill. Stop insulting women. I am sick and tired, and I know women across this country are sick and tired of being talked down to. And
you think, girl, you think you're tired of being talked down to? Because they talk to women like they're stupid? Oh, wait till we get to the part where they start talking about the black people still don't know how to get ID and don't know how to use computers. They're still talking about that. How do you think that makes people like me feel? In order to be a Democrat, you have to be stupid. Unless, of course, you're into, you're in on the scam. There's no other avenue. You're in on the scam or you're stupid. Period. Oh, voter suppression. Stupid. Or are you part of that scam? Makes no sense whatsoever.
Being insulted repeatedly with the fear-mongering tactics of the left. It is disingenuous for them to stand there and continue to say that women will not be eligible to vote. This is about protecting one of our...
I have a question. How can Democrat libnut politicians complain about women not being able to vote when they can't even define who a woman is? Somebody answer that question. Now Now, all of a sudden, you're trying to figure out what exactly is a woman. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Most sacred rights that we have as Americans. And I am so proud to stand here as a woman, as a married woman, and again as the chair of the Republican Women's Caucus, in safeguarding and ensuring the integrity of our elections. I urge my colleagues to do the same.
Time is expired.
I yield an additional 15 seconds.
The gentleman from Wisconsin yields her an additional 15 seconds. Thank you.
I can keep preaching for an additional 30. The point is that Americans around this country are sick and tired of the fear-mongering tactics that they have been subjected to by the left for decades. We need to ensure the integrity of our elections. It has been demanded by the American people, and we're making good on that promise today. I urge my colleagues to support the SAVE Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Wisconsin.
Let me tell you something. In Arizona, we have two kinds of ballots. We're the only state. We're really unique this way, and it's a result of a federal case. You have state ballots which require you prove citizenship to vote on, but not so on federal ballots. That means for members of Congress, U.S. Senate, and for the President of the United States, you do not have to show citizenship. You don't have to show identification. The SAVE Act is required if we're going to have election integrity. I encourage my colleagues to vote for that. It'll make the federal law in Arizona correspond to the state law. That will help Arizona's election integrity.
Thank the Speaker.
You know, one of the things that I really have to think about, because I like to not be, completely partisan. So I hear arguments and I think to myself, okay, let's hear both sides. I'm a reasoning adult. I can't think of any reason why you would not want to make sure that the people voting are citizens. Even if it takes a little bit more for you to be able to prove that you're a citizen. I think that the right to vote in this country is so sacrosanct, that is so elevated as a right, that you should have to prove that you have that right. That you're actually from here. Not, imported and given a social security number. Why is it such a hard thing for the Democrats to say, okay, I'm good with this? Because what they're doing, in essence, is flinging the door open where you're starting to think, what exactly is your problem? What exactly, the people who didn't know, people who weren't paying attention for the last, 5 or 6 years, all the way back maybe even to 2060, those of you who weren't paying attention, at this point, if you're a functioning brain having an adult, you got to be thinking to yourself, yeah, I don't want other people voting. Unless, of course, you do. See, you can have one way or the other, but your friends at work, family members, everybody. What's your argument for not proving you're a citizen of the United States? And then just shut up and, again, listen to them. And they turn into the Linda Blair and The Exorcist because they have no answer. Everybody with a functioning frontal lobe knows the Democrats are done as a party if they can't cheat. Straight up and down. You're done. Nobody wants your crazy ideology. Even middle America, when I say middle America, I'm talking about independents. Even they're shifting away going, y'all crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So the only reason that stands to bear is you're not defending these people who don't have IDs. If you were doing that, you should be running drives and saying, hey, just like you parked the big blue bus out there in front of the DNC, how about parking an identification booth where you got to make sure that the people, I'm not talking registration. Oh, no, not there yet, because we know you'll do that. I'm talking help the people you say can't get ID. Make big commercial about it. I mean, hey, Kamala spent $1 billion. Hey, come on down here and we'll help you get an ID. Mobile ID. How about that? Where you got to come in and prove you're an American. Nope, but they ain't going to do that.
I want to thank the chairman for his strong work and commitment to election integrity and to working with us on this bill, in particular, the SAVE Act. He's done an extraordinary job, and I'm proud to work with him and work with the rest of my colleagues on it. I'm proud to work with my friend Cleta Mitchell, who had a significant hand in what we were doing here. I'm quite certain that she is pretty well aware of protecting the right of females to be able to vote, along with my friends Stephanie Bice and Mary Miller and Laurel Lee and Lauren Boebert and Kat Kamak, all of whom came down to the floor in full support of this legislation, because they know the truth. They know the truth that the American people know, which is that as much as my colleagues on the other side of the aisle want to bring up the DMV, the American people know that the DMV is very good at giving driver's license to illegal aliens, because we know it to be true. We know that there are people who have been indicted for voting illegally. We know that there are voter rolls with massive numbers of people who are illegally present in the United States. We know that the previous administration let in millions of people into the United States wrongfully and illegally under parole and asylum, blatantly abusing the law to put people in the United States that have no basis for being here, many of whom carried out dangerous acts against American people, killed American citizens, but importantly, have been registering to vote. That's what's been happening. So what we understand is the American people have spoken very clearly that they believe only American citizens should vote in American elections.
Now, I know there are some people out there who find Chip Roy to be, I don't know, kind of walking a tightrope. But I'm looking at individual situations. And in this regard, in this situation, he understands the need for proving you are able to vote here. I don't have any problem with that. I may have some problem with his other thoughts and things he likes to see, but the fact that he's standing up for this, which for the most part is nothing you really can stand against, because other than that, you being a Democrat, I don't even know why they had to have the discussion. To me, every Republican should have walked up there and say, I yield. But then again, it would have given these guys too much time to talk back. But which is another default in our government. You shouldn't get all this time. Nobody cares. You already know who you're voting for.
Nothing controversial about that. There's nothing controversial about saying that you should be able to ensure that only citizens vote. And let's be very clear. Federal law has currently been interpreted to prohibit states from being able to check citizenship. That's the truth. That's why the state of Arizona, for example, has two systems. One for state and local, one for federal.
When he speaks, the gentleman's continued to...
The good people of Arizona have two systems in place. They check for citizenship for state and local elections, and they're unable to check for citizenship in federal elections. The point of this bill is to ensure that we guarantee only citizens vote by allowing those states to be able to check, by having systems, federal systems, be open to the states to be able to check, and to require proof of citizenship when you register. There's nothing complex about that. There's nothing more sacred under the Constitution than ensuring that the people are able to have the voice in the election of the people that represent them in Washington and throughout the country. Once that is undermined, then people lose faith in the very institutions upon which this is built.
Oh, it's too late for that. Everything Doge just exposed, we've completely lost faith in the government, left and right. If it weren't for President Trump and Elon Musk coming in and saying, hey, this is all wrong, those of you who have been there, who have seen this, who've been on these committees, these appropriation committees and finance committees and every other budget committee, what the hell y'all been doing? But thankfully now Trump is ringing a bell and you guys are answering it and saying, okay, we need to do what we need to do, which is one of the reasons why the Democrats are freaking out. That's why you keep seeing them. Isn't there going to be any Republicans who stand up to Trump? Let me just tell you that answer. No. Not if they want to keep their position. Not at this point.
This legislation is designed to restore that faith, to save our elections, to save election integrity. I'm proud to have worked on this bill with my friend, the chairman, with my colleagues on this side of the aisle. And I would note that 5 of my Democrat colleagues joined us last summer to vote for this bill. Hardly a partisan exercise. Hardly a partisan exercise to say that we should protect the elections of the American people. So I urge my colleagues to support this bill, to restore confidence and faith in our elections, to take a step forward in ensuring that people know that citizens will be in control of this republic as the founders intended.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, I rise today in strong support of the SAVE Act because American elections should only be decided by American citizens. That's not controversial, it's common sense. Think about it.
I'm sorry, I was muted. What I was saying is you guys have got to get to work. You guys have got to get to work. They're going to get to work. They are going to continue to fight. They are raising tons of money. You saw what happened in Wisconsin. They are going to keep doing that. They are not going to quit. They are going to fight to the death, literally. And so I'm not expecting any of you to go stand in the street and carry signs. I find that kind of stuff completely ineffective. Completely ineffective. I even find it counterproductive. It does nothing. Having gone to that last protest and filmed these idiots, I know when they went out to dinner or lunch after the protest, meant nothing. Some people took some pictures. The local news came by. Everybody watched a little bit of it. And then they went about their day. It was beautiful. Went to the beach, went to lunch. Nobody cared. That's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done for them. It's not going to get it done for us. You need to just continue to raise your voice. You need to get on whatever platforms, Facebook, if they allow you, X, YouTube, and just keep talking. Keep talking it up. Let people, don't give them any quarter whatsoever. If you hear them talking about, hey, listen, IDs is racist. That ain't going to work anymore. We're not racist. We're not fascists. We're not Nazis. None of that stuff. We want to take back America. That can't be a bumper sticker anymore. You actually going to have to do the work. And I know some people are like, man, I don't know what else to do. You got to keep doing. You got to keep posting. You got to keep talking. I'm telling you, don't let up, because they're not. This shouldn't even be a bill. Can you imagine we're having to have discussions as to whether or not you should be a citizen to even vote here, which should tell you they don't believe you should be a citizen. They believe everybody should get a vote. If you land here and you're here, you should be able to vote. The fact that they're pushing this, and given how everything is so close between the Democrats and the Republicans, we're only this far. Just want you to know, every single day you are this far from losing this republic. Every single day. Every single day. It's razor thin. So understand that.
Democrats have no problem requiring an ID to board a plane, buy a six-pack, drive a car, or even adopt a pet. Just a few years ago, they demanded you show proof of vaccination just to eat at a restaurant or pick up food. But when it comes to the most sacred act in our republic, voting, They fight tooth and nail against requiring proof of citizenship. Why? It's blatant hypocrisy, and the American people see right through it. The SAVE Act ensures that only American citizens can register to vote and vote in federal elections. It protects the integrity of our system and restores faith in democracy. In fact, in Iowa, every single time we have passed election integrity laws, the percentage of people voting has increased. With President Trump back in the White House, it's time to secure our elections and put American citizens first. Let's pass the SAVE Act now.
And bless my colleagues' hearts on the other side of the aisle, using married women as a gotcha for voting. I've never had to bring my birth certificate to prove that I was a registered voter. I have an ID that has a different name than my birth certificate. And also, since we're using women as bait here, maybe in the next round of debates, they could explain to us exactly what a woman is. I rise in support of the SAVE Act. The American people are done messing around with a woke, weak-kneed system that lets our elections get hijacked.
I rise today in strong support of the SAVE Act, which includes robust measures to prevent illegal aliens from participating in our elections. Under Joe Biden, millions of illegal aliens flooded into our country, and many were given the benefits and privileges that should be reserved for American citizens. In Illinois, J.B. Pritzker and the Democrats rolled out the red carpet and actively enticed illegals and those covered by Biden's bogus asylum programs to settle in my state to the tune of over 500,000 people. They received welfare benefits, CDL licenses, state identification, and the Democrats have even voted to allow them to be law enforcement officers.
Also, something more to scare you. I mean, it's a real scare. They were giving out CDL licenses to people who didn't know how to drive trucks and buses. They found a loophole there. They figured out something. Hey, if we put them in this line, we can get even more of these people licenses. And so you've got newcomers out there wandering around with CDL licenses to drive buses and trucks who don't know how to drive buses and trucks. That is scary. Next time you look up and you're driving, you look up in the rearview mirror and you see a big truck coming up behind you, you better hope it's not some newcomer who just got a fake CDL license. I'm just saying. Again, that's something people didn't know about. So every time a Democrat says to me or says to anybody and he starts saying, these are laws that, it's already on the books, it's already illegal. We shouldn't have to do this because it's already... Come on. That's your argument? It's already on the books? Yeah, it's already on the books for you not to cheat in elections too. How'd that go?
I'd have to tell you how dangerous this situation is for Americans, and especially for Americans' confidence in the sanctity of our elections. As far-left jurisdictions seek to allow illegals to vote in local elections, let me be clear about this one thing. Every vote cast by an illegal alien is a vote stolen from an American citizen. Congress must defend the integrity of our elections. We must aggressively push back against the left's attempts to change the electorate and dilute the voices of actual Americans in our democratic process. This past week and today, all we hear are the Democrats sharing their concerns that rural Americans, women, and people of color are not capable of getting an ID. This is insulting, condescending, and an untrue argument. You need an ID for most everything else in daily life. Maybe the Democrats should quit wasting so much time in our public schools indoctrinating our children and instead teach them real-life skills such as reading, civics, and how to get an ID.
Oh, they know how to get an ID. They just don't want people to know that they know. How do you know? Because the people who are now transformers, I'll just use that word. The people who are transformers have posted all over TikTok and everywhere else, oh, I'm being shamed. They wouldn't change my name on my ID. Oh, so you know how to get an ID. So you were able to get to the DMV. That's what you're saying? Yeah. Interesting. But you tried so you can get a passport so you can travel. Yeah. But it's the same effort could get you an ID from anywhere in the country if you're black, Puerto Rican, person of color, as they say, any creed or color. It doesn't matter. It's insulting. I'm looking at somebody who talked about the CDL license. He goes, I had to pay $5,000 for my CDL, and they got them for free. Yup. They found a way to get those CDL licenses in their hands so that they could even make it easier for these people to not have to, stand in line and wait for an ID. We got to do something about that. I mean, absolutely have to do something. And I love that people are standing up. Let me go ahead and talk to you about the Trump blanket, which I shall model for you. Folks, here it is. I actually got it in the mail, went to go pick it up at the box, and here's what it looks like. Make sure the letters are correct. And this is the big Trump blanket. I'm only putting it on for one reason. I'm putting it on so you guys can see how big it is on me, that I can fit on it. So this drum, I don't like what they tell me to say here, but I'm going to say it, but I'll put my own words on it. This Trump blanket is ticking liberals off, and it's hilarious. Patriot Addict is back with another exclusive release. For a limited time only, they're giving away these Trump presidential blankets for free. For free. It's big. It's warm. Not that I need much warmth other than when we come in from the pool, but it's a nice big blanket. No hidden charges, no recurring fees, none of that BS. Just cover a small shipping fee, and it's yours. Look how big this thing is. You could get under the covers with your girlfriend or your wife and just snuggle. It's nice and warm. This blanket is gorgeous, thick, warm, and decked out with patriotic pride. Just imagine wrapping yourself in it, watching television under the air conditioning, or with a cool breeze from the window. It's more than just a blanket. It's a bold symbol of America's comeback and real leadership. And by the way, it is warm because just holding it here, I'm like, okay, how much more I got to read, because damn, I'm starting to feel hot. And let's be honest, it drives liberals absolutely nuts every time they see it on your couch or hanging in your home. Not sure why the liberal would be in your home. Maybe if you hung it outside your window or something. It's a symbol of America's comeback and real leadership. Patriot Addict is doing this to show their support for Trump in these challenging times and to make room in their warehouses. But this offer is only available for you guys, my viewers, and it's moving fast. Don't wait. Scan the QR code now, or right over here. Oh, actually, over here. Yeah, it's over there. Or head over to the link, which there isn't one. They didn't give me that. I'm telling you, I could do this better myself. It's a nice big blanket. It's warm. It's huge. It's all the way over to past my knees at this point. And if you'd like to get this blanket shipped to you, all you got to do is pay the shipping costs. I hope you can still hear me, but it's a huge blanket with the presidential seal and everything. All right, just scan the QR code right here and grab yours today. So I'm going over and above what people have asked me to read, because I could actually talk to you guys better. It seems it's like it's made out of a nice fleece. So, if you guys want to go ahead and, I don't know what the size of it is, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big. And I will attest 100%. It is warm. It is really, really warm. Whew. Just by putting it over, I can just feel it retaining the heat. So if you want to get one of those, just go ahead and do it. How much was shipping for the blanket? We love you, Larry. The blanket is upside down. Wait a minute. I can see it on the screen. Is it upside down when you look at it? Wait a minute. No, I'm looking at the words. It says, let me go this way. Trump, president. President. Trump, president. It's not upside down unless I was holding it upside down before, but I'm looking in the monitor and I can see it, so It was up right side. Man, it's hot. That's really hot. My husband worked long and hard. Somebody's talking about their CDL and had to get a loan for his first weeks of training. It's 5 feet. Somebody said it's almost 5 by 5. Okay, that's pretty good. In any event, the QR code does me no good. I listen on my phone. I'm sorry. I'll tell them to get a link. Can't help you. Can't help you there. All right, so let's keep moving. I've done my modeling for the evening. Well, actually, I'm going to talk to you about the knives later on. But in any event, that was the first part of what these people did. And I got some more for you. So just bear with this because there's a payoff coming. There's definitely a payoff coming.
Election integrity was not an issue that my colleagues have been pushing until Donald Trump told them that they should be pushing this issue. Americans have confidence in elections. But see, for me, it's about too many people doing too many things too courageously for me to be able to stand here today. Names like James Reed and Jimmy Lee Jackson and Viola Liuzzo, Andrew Goodman, James Chaney, Michael Schwerner. These are people who died for me to be here today. Congressman John Lewis, who most of you served with, died for me to be here today. And this bill would make it tougher than it has ever been in American history to...
John Lewis died to make this guy able to vote? I'm thinking John Lewis died because he got old. He wasn't fighting any wars to, so that you could do this crap. You're lying.
Register to vote at a time where we have the technological ability to be able to verify election eligibility, but we don't want to do that. We want to make it tougher for people to actually get registered to vote. And that is not what we should be doing. We should be making it easier for people to vote.
Yeah. No, we shouldn't. We should not be making it easier for people to vote. I completely disagree. Do you know why we shouldn't be making it easier for people to vote? It's because it is an honor to vote in an election. It's not something you should give out like bags of candy on Halloween. It is an honor. It's bestowed upon Americans. We are the ones. We're proud of that right that we have. It should not be doled out to everybody. It shouldn't be easy. You should have to show that you're a citizen because you're getting those rights conferred upon you based upon your citizenship. My grandson, today, got his driver's license. Ashley had to take him over to the DMV in North Carolina. He had to do the whole test thing. Then you go out and you do the drive. And he got his rite of passage. He got his driver's license. He earned it. That driver's license is a privilege. Voting is a right. But the right of voting is based upon the prior privilege of being an American. That's where the right comes from. It doesn't mean you get off a boat and you then have the right. You were privileged to be born in America. And because you're born in America and you're an American citizen, then you have certain rights. Man.
There's that saying, when this is a solution in search of a problem, this is a classic example of the SAVE Act. What Republicans are doing is, once again, demonizing immigrants for the sake of making it harder.
You notice how they do that with ease? The guy just said demonizing immigrants. And they do that so often, and they do that with such ease. Because they forget the qualifier before the word immigrant. They never say they're doing this to, illegal immigrants. I can't have to. They just say immigrants. No, we don't have any problem. I've told you many times. My parents, my father, his uncles, his mom, my grandmom, they're all from Jamaica. And they had to do things the right way. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I am so a stickler against this. I know personally what my relatives had to do to become United States citizens. They weren't just immigrants. They were legal immigrants. And for some reason, the Democrats on purpose conflate that. They will never put the qualifier in front of that word. That's why it was so easy for them to say, oh, they're out there trying to demonize immigrants. No, not immigrants.
for eligible citizens to register to vote and to cast their ballots in elections. It's voter suppression in disguise, not so much of a disguise. Here's the truth. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in our elections. Even the very conservative Heritage Foundation has only found less than 70 instances of a non-citizen voting over the last 40 years.
I don't even know how they had 40 last time. It was hundreds and thousands. What do you mean there were 40 people over 50 years or something? They act like this is just some sort of fantasy. It's a ghost. It doesn't happen. Well, if that's the case, how are all these newcomers that you're looking for, why are you trying to get them to get registered? Because you're facilitating it. They don't have the right. If you listen to what they say, they're telling you, we need to steal this. We need to steal everything. There's no other way we can win.
Current laws and protections are working. What would the SAVE Act do? It would make it harder for members of the military, for example, when they're deployed to a different base and maybe have to re-register, and it's not so easy, from not maybe being able to vote in the next election. Or a woman who's married and changed her last name, and all of a sudden her ID doesn't match her birth certificate. This is voter suppression.
Any of you guys married? I'm just wondering if there's any of you who are married. And if your wife took your name, or if, like with Robin, she wanted to honor her dad and she has a hyphenated name, it was different than her, her birth certificate. Her birth name and her married name. Two different things. Wow, she didn't have any problem. And that was 30-something years ago. Back when, we didn't know how to use the internet. Barely knew how to use AOL. Yeah, you got mail. But somehow, 33 years ago, when my wife changed her name over, when we got married, somehow she was able to get ID. And I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of women in here right now who are like, what are you talking about? I was married in 1960. Just went down to the Justice of the Peace and showed them the paper and they gave me my new driver's license. What are you talking about? It's insulting. Robin heard this. She's like, what are you talking about? Because I asked her, I said, was it hard for you to get the thing when we got married? She said, no. She took my marriage license. Oh, that's right. There's something that these people don't have. I took my marriage license. I proved I got married, and bam, it was done. So I don't know what they're talking about. It's going to be too hard for a woman to if she changes her name after she gets married. Huh? I'm pretty sure you still have to get a marriage license. Or are they now giving those out too like candy?
It's unnecessary. The last big piece of hypocrisy here, Jose, is when Democrats have proposals on how we strengthen our democracy and voting rights, the Republicans are so quick to say, no, states run elections. The federal government should not dictate how states do it. But when it's Donald Trump who has these horrible ideas, they're silent and want to advance it. Even Mitch McConnell knows better and has spoken publicly against both the executive order that Donald Trump is trying to do and the SAVE Act, which includes the same provisions.
Did you change?
Even Mitch McConnell, is that supposed to be, what's that supposed to mean? We already know he hates Trump. We already know he's been on a take. Well, we already know his wife and some of his other people have been doing business with China. What the hell is that? I don't care what Mitch McConnell thinks anymore. Matter of fact, Mitch McConnell doesn't know what Mitch McConnell thinks anymore.
Your last name when you got married? Let me tell you how Republicans are trying to take away your right to vote. Today, Republicans are putting a bill on the floor called the SAVE Act that would require you to prove your citizenship in order to vote or change your address to vote. Now, you may think, well, that makes sense. We only want citizens to vote. True. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. Let me repeat. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. What this bill...
If it's illegal for non-citizens to vote in national elections, which I agree with you, how are you supposed to determine if somebody is legally voting? Think about what they're saying. Hey, it's already illegal to vote in a national election if you're not from here. Okay, great. How do I determine if this person isn't a citizen? Huh? You just told me. You told me it's illegal for illegals to vote in an election. True. Can I ask them for their ID? Hey, we don't want you to do it. Then how am I proving that they're illegal? How am I proving that you're a citizen? Yes, you are correct. You get pulled over for drunk driving. They just can't give you a ticket. The guy goes, here, blowing this thing. Oh, now I see you're at in Florida, what's it, 0.08 or whatever. Now I can measure the fact that you are drunk. If it's already illegal to vote in a federal election, please tell me, without checking citizenship and ID, how do we do that? Oh, you're supposed to take their word. Oh, yes, I'm a citizen. That's it? That's all you want? Because that's what they're saying. I can't get an ID. ID is voter suppression. I can't prove citizenship. That's voter suppression. I changed my name. But how would I know you changed your name until you came up to the voting precinct and said, I don't have an ID because I changed my name 8 years ago? You see, if you follow these people in, you realize they're talking to complete functional idiots. Oh yeah, I already know it's illegal. It's illegal to go in a bar in downtown Fort Lauderdale and have a drink. You can't do it. I'm pretty sure many of us got in bars from the time we were in high school and in college because we either faked it or slipped the doorman $20 and they let us in. But it was, it was illegal. It was already on the books. You can't drink till you're 20. Actually, it was back when I was there, it was 18, so I was good. But in any event, we weren't supposed to, right? You weren't supposed to get in the bar, but we did it. Guess what else? You're not supposed to rob banks. People rob banks. Guess what? You're supposed to pay your taxes. Already a law on that. Why do you need 87,000 more people? You wanted 87,000 more IRS agents to make sure people paid their taxes. Why do you need them if it's already on the books? Did you pay your taxes? Yep. But you wanted 87,000 armed agents for that. But changing your name? Don't ask me hard questions. What the hell?
Do is say that you need to prove your citizenship. How do you do that? A birth certificate, a passport, and you have to go in person to do so. So what is that?
In person. You might have to go there. Oh my God.
It means if you're a person who changed your name because you got married, your birth certificate is not going to match what your driver's license says now, and they're going to think you're not eligible to vote. If you are a military service member serving overseas and you are not in the same place as your birth certificate and you're not able to go in person to change your registration, you wouldn't be able to vote. If
you see how they're doing? I want you to see something. Hold on. You see how that little microphone thingy they're doing right there? You know who they're talking to, right? Because that's the TikTok style. That's the style that the kids are seeing. I don't know how that became a thing, but it's a thing. So they hold up the little microphone, so it tells you right off the bat, she's trying to talk to young kids. Because some of you are probably thinking, what? Why is she holding up the little microphone? Why is she not just talking? Well, I got to talk in a little microphone because the kids are cool and they like the TikTok thing. This is a TikTok style video. But, oh gosh.
Just like me, and would have to call your mom to find your birth certificate.
Hold on there. She just told you. You'd have to call your mom to find your birth certificate. Wait a second. Who the hell is this people's audiences? Hey, I'm an adult. I don't need to call my mom to find my birth certificate. Wow. Robin was born up north, South Carolina. I'm from Connecticut. We get married in South Carolina. I'm like, birth certificate? How am I going to get my birth certificate? Oh, I better call my mama. Mama, I can't get my birth certificate. I want to get married to this woman. I got no birth certificate. What do I do? Get your ass on a plane? Oh, okay. I got you. Or is there any other way I can do it so I don't have to come in and go to the county office there? Sure. Call a lawyer. Oh, that too. Or maybe just call them. And maybe they'll send you an affidavit. What am I giving people this information? That's right. You just call mama. Mama.
Eligible to vote. And if you don't have $170 laying around to get a passport, you might not be eligible to vote. This could impact almost 150 million Americans. That's almost as many as the amount of people who voted in.
Wait a second. This could impact, she just said it. This could impact 150 million people. So basically, every single person who voted in the last election, it would impact every single person who voted in the last election. This could impact 150 million people. I watched this and I'm like, there's no way. There is absolutely no way that there are people walking this planet who are so stupid as to believe this crap. And you're like, Barry, why are you showing it to us? Because this is the kind of thing that you need to know, that they're trying to basically program people in their mind. Hey, there's 150 million people are going to be impacted by the SAVE Act.
Last year's election. So the SAVE Act is not solving a problem, it's creating one. And that's why I'll be voting no.
Now I'm here. I don't care. Oh, by the way, about black people not being able to find ID.
East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID? That's a lie. Why would you say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Yeah, everybody. That kid looked younger, like he was in high school or college. Like, yeah, I got an ID.
That I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, an ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Did you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
Black people don't know how to use the internet, right? Is that true? Dude couldn't even keep a straight face. He couldn't even and I'm guaranteeing you, you could go into any building in any city and across the country, stand on any corner and do this exact same interview, and you would get 100% the same results.
That's just stupidity.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly?
Exactly. I do it at work. So of course I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually
unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. So I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception about you?
They're pretty much ignorant now. That's why my thought process on it.
I just think that's ignorant. It's ignorant.
Ignorant to say we don't. These kids are sexting, they're texting, they're doing all kinds of things on their phone. If you've ever been around somebody who's 16, 17, 18, this is all they do. Black, Puerto Rican, white, Asian, this is it. Just keep scrolling. And then they get the fast finger. Boom. What the hell are these Democrats talking about? These kids, whether it be inner city or not, know more about using the internet than you people like Chuck Schumer. They don't have any problem. Ask any kid. Ask any college kid. Hey, can you look up so-and-so? Oh, yeah. Here you go. It'd be instantaneous.
Ignorant. That's the word I hear a lot. Ignorant.
It's very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Judging somebody, but you're judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? You
love showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you had to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote? Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. I've never met anybody. I've been black a long time. I've got black relatives. I've had black coworkers. I don't know anybody who doesn't have an ID. No one. Even my grandmother, when I was growing up, and she was older, she had an ID. You know why? Because she got Social Security, and she got this and that and everything else. When she got sick, she had an ID. I would have to, I was just like 16, 17, I would be driving her around. I would take her to the bank. I would take her all kinds of shopping. She had an ID. She had credit cards. What the hell are these people talking about? It is 2025, and they are still using the same old lame information. It's like it just never changes. It's like a Democrat time warp. Let's do the time warp. Hey, you guys heard that song before, but it just drives me crazy. And it's insulting to all of us, especially those of us who are supposedly black. You know what I mean? I'm black and I got a gateway computer and AOL internet in 2001. You were an anomaly. You were not supposed to be on the internet. Not at all. Got to show ID at hospital. And you know what the thing is? I have no idea what are they. I have no idea what they're talking about. My dog has you are so right. Somebody wrote in here, my dog has ID. You're exactly right. ID. Midas has an ID. Lily has an ID. When we had to fly with them, they got ID cards. It was really funny. I'm 59, soon to be 60, and know what you mean. Yes, that was from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So you're about my age. You understand that. It's insulting because all of us have lived lives. All of us have gone through that transition from grammar school, middle school, to high school, to college, to adult life, and realize, yeah, I remember my license. I got mine in. And you just can think back. It just goes right back to you. I remember my first job. I remember getting fired from my first job. I remember getting my last paycheck from my first job. You had to go cash it then. Here I am, a 16-year-old kid working it was a place called Caldor. It was like Target back then, but it was called Caldor. And Caldor, I worked in the seasonal section, and they thought I was a forklift because I played football, and I had to carry all the seasonal stuff around. And I'm like, I'm done with this, okay? But in any event, I remember, and people have made movies about it, when people get their first check, and they're surprised that there's this thing called FICA, and you're shocked. You ask your mom, what is this? Because all during the week, you're like, I worked 20 hours. I got paid this much. My check's going to be for that much. I'm good. And it's not. And it's not. And in order to get that money from this thing called a check, what am I supposed to do with it? Well, You got to take it to the bank, and when you give them the check, they're going to give you money. Oh, okay, I'll run over. No, wait. You got your license on you? Yeah. Well, when you ride the bike over, make sure you've got your license in your pocket because they're going to ask you for an ID. An ID? Yeah, they're going to want to make sure the name on the check matches the ID, stupid. Oh, yeah, to make sure it's me. And you walk up as a 16-year-old, and you put the thing on the counter, and they say, what? Can you show me your ID? Here it is. And that was decades ago. And I'm still searching for these people who ain't got no IDs. They say it every 3 or 4 years. And I'm saying to myself, where are these people? And what rocks do they live under? That in 2025, I said in 2020. I said in like 2016. Who are these people who have no IDs? And how are we even listening to these people anymore? Everything that Doge has showed at this point, none of this makes any sense. None of it makes any sense anymore. It's absolutely stunningly crazy. Oh, wait a minute. Chucky's got that little microphone-y thing too.
Donald Trump is now in retreat because Democrats in the Senate and the House and the American people have said, stop playing games with these tariffs. You think it's a game. You think it's like red light, green light. It's not. It's chaos. And the damage you have done already, despite today's announcement, is permanent and real and deep. You're throwing our whole economy out of kilter. You're telling business people and consumers to not spend because they don't know what the heck is coming out next. What you're doing, Donald Trump, is hurting the American people as you play games. Whatever pops into your head the next hour, the next day, the next week is what you say we're doing with tariffs. And they constantly contradict each other, make no sense, harm the American economy, and worst of all, American families.
All right, so we've segued into that tariff section of the show because it's still happening. But before we go there, I did have something to show you because before some of you guys ask, I forgot to put this up. So the SAVE Act did pass, requiring proof of citizenship to vote. 208 Democrats voted against it. Surprisingly, 4 of them voted for it. So every single Republican, thank God, every single Republican voted for it, brought it to 220 to 208. 4 Democrats said yes. 208 Democrats in the House of Representatives said no, you don't need to prove that you're a citizen. Just let that sink in. As I go to the tariffs here, let that sink in that 208 elected officials in the Democrat Party voted against requiring citizenship to vote. If that doesn't tell you where this country is headed should they win, nothing should. Nothing will. 208. 4 people said, I'm going to go with these guys. 208 said, nope, we don't want to have to prove anything, anytime, anywhere. If you walk up and say, hey, I'm Fred from Elm Street, you get a vote. That's what they think. So when I'm telling you, stay in the fight, you need to see these people are not given this much. They want to take America down so bad, they are willing to go out in public and vote and say, yeah, we would rather have nobody check IDs. So Chucky, who you just heard, is freaking out and lying and trying to, again, talk to the kids. We got the little TikTok-y mic here, and we're going to go with some jump cuts really quick in and out about 4 or 5 times, because that must be the mentality of the people they want to talk to. And now, funny, there are people in the media who are catching on to their BS and saying this can't go any further.
Say you remember our last conversation. This is almost like part 2. Remember our last conversation about about price gouging. So now you got another way to say that corporations are doing that. But egg prices came down, inflation came down. It seems like the corporations only gouge when you say they're gouging, and then they're unable to at other times.
So I know you don't want to listen to me on this, but listen to Jerome Powell on this. The example he gave on Friday was from the last time that Trump's tariffs went into effect. And he said there was a tariff on washing machines. No surprise, the price of washing machines went up. But the shocking part is the price of dryers went up as well, even though there was no imposition of tariffs on those. You tell me what that is, except for price gouging.
Trying to figure that out. Unless you have a clothesline out back, you need the dryer, though, Senator.
You need the dryer, but the price doesn't go up on dryers. The cost of dryers didn't go up.
Growing up,
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The times.
Totally. And I love the smell.
I love the way you're changing the subject here. That is an example of price gouging.
They told me we had less than a minute. They said we had less than a minute left.
Now they say we can keep it going.
Now we can keep it going.
Now we can keep it going.
I don't want to keep it going.
Good.
No, Senator,
I bet you don't.
No.
She's a cartoon. She's merely a cartoon. And the guy in CNBC is just you're not making any sense. You're never making any sense at all. And it just keeps happening. Over and over and over, the Democrats, and especially her, she's out there screaming about everything. And like I've said to you, this is not a happy party. None of these politicians are happy. None of these people are people you'd want to go and hang out and have a beer with. It's just misery 24/7. Now, listen to this happy idiot.
I'm listening and looking for the through line in all of this, and all I can think about is how the reason business people got into business with Donald Trump was because there was the presumption of a quid pro quo. Something for something. We give everything on culture, all that stuff, the woke stuff, cool. We get money in return. And now, as I think about what's inside their heads, I'm just wondering if they have the feeling that I think a lot of Americans have on Main Street and Wall Street, which is that we're in a car driven by somebody who is blackout drunk. Like, it's at some point, Mika, incumbent upon the people who are in the car, who can still yell at this man in hearing range, to get out. To get out.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm looking at where this car is going, and it's like one of those bad Bugs Bunny cartoons. It's Looney Tunes. We're driving a car drunk towards a tunnel painted on the side of a mountain. And everybody's just nodding along saying, the guy enjoys, he likes a joyride. We're going to where we need to go. And everything, evidence-based, is telling us we got to get out now.
Own business community.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, it's awful. It's awful. As Mika, I was doing my Mika impression. As this guy does nothing, I thought he was a comedian because he's just making up stuff about President Trump on a news show. On a morning news show on MSNBC, this dude comes out and says that Donald Trump seems to be a drunk guy driving a clown car heading for a crash, and nobody is doing anything about it. Shows you how little they think of us. We're just clowns along for the ride. Well, as I've mentioned many times, how Trump continues to break news even at night. Breaking, and SV sent this to me. For immediate release, President Donald Trump has signed H.J. Res. 25 into law. On Thursday, April 10th, the president signed into law H.J. Res. 25, which disapproves of the rules submitted by the Internal Revenue Service relating to gross proceeds reported by brokers that regularly provide services effectuating digital asset sales. I wish they would put this stuff in much easier terms for people to understand and read. But basically, you're not going to have to pay taxes the way they wanted you to pay taxes on crypto and Venmo and all these other services. He's like, nope, we're not going to do that. Funny. Right before April 15th. Right before April 15th. So, of course, the lefties are all pissed off. I'm looking at some of the comments in here. Oh, it's going to make money laundering great again. These are people who don't understand finance and don't want you to make any money. And here's a little explanation from Doge EAI. The DeFi broker rule killed. No more forcing platforms to be IRS agents or drowning in compliance costs. It cuts the red tape, protects privacy, unleashes crypto growth. Biden created it. Trump's fixing it. Thank you. Thank you. It is not a platform's job to collect on behalf of the IRS. And now that's no longer going to be the case, as well it should have been before. It's absolutely nuts. And you can see he's starting to move towards no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and he's moving into that. If you can read the tea leaves at this point, he just did a big thing in terms of, okay, we're getting rid of that at 9 o'clock at night. These people are freaking out because he's doing stuff at night. They won't be able to react to it until tomorrow morning. There's nothing most of them probably have no idea what he's even did. They don't know what that is, but we do.
He is scared to death about what's coming next, and they're going to have to protect their bottom line. The international community wants to avoid doing all business with the United States because it's so chaotic and dysfunctional and unpredictable. So our economy is still in a complete tailspin right now, and this was a momentary reprieve, and thankfully for everyone's 401ks and 529s, as you said, that the market has recovered some of the historic losses over the past few days. But we're at just the beginning of this. We're not at the end.
What about the losses people had during Biden? You know, I mean, you guys never came on TV and talked when he was destroying the economy, when he was basically, well, never mind. How about the money that's been stolen from Americans? None of you have addressed that. None of you. And then you get this idiot.
But actually voting against the president. And you're going to see more and more of that the more destruction he brings to our economy. Just watching this display in the administration as the president's aides were out there after this latest flip-flop saying it wasn't a flip-flop, it was planned that way. You know, you're just not smart enough to see the president's brilliant strategy, his art of the deal. And then the president saying, I don't know what these guys are talking about. I'm just shooting from there.
Did he say that? Did the president say, I don't know what these guys are talking about? I don't recall. You can tell when people react that they're not serious. He's not having a financial discussion. The Democrats cannot go toe-to-toe and have financial discussions about what's going on with the stock market and the economy and the tariffs. If you've noticed, the theme throughout everything, the votes, the tariffs, it's all insult-based. It's all directed at getting people's emotion, and it's directed at people who don't have any money. So it's easier to go after their emotions. He didn't say anything that anybody in a certain financial state could act on. Oh, Trump doesn't know what he's doing, and blah, blah, blah. So what are you telling me? What are you telling? If he doesn't know what he's doing, what are you doing about it? I'm listening to you, Adam. I'm listening to Swallowwell and everybody else and Elizabeth Warren. If he doesn't know what he's doing, why don't you address that he doesn't know what he's doing? It's very simple. Tell us why he doesn't know what he's doing. But if you only have denigration and insults, you're not addressing anybody. You're an elected official. If you have a problem with what he's doing, talk about it. Trump's doing it. He just got rid of the crypto rule and the digital asset rule. He's making it happen. What are you doing? Nothing. Nothing but complaining and bitching.
Here, sadly, I think people believe the president. He's just shooting from the seat of his pants, and he's hitting everybody in the worst of ways. So if he keeps that up, and he is probably just too capricious not to, I think you are going to see Republicans abandon him as they fear their own constituents more than they fear his wrath.
See, that's what I would tell Adam to do. Hold your breath. Count on that. If that's what you think's going to happen, Go ahead, hold your breath for it. Or put some money where your mouth is. Go into one of those online betting things and saying, the Republicans are going to jump ship away from President Trump. I challenge you, put your money where your mouth is. Because you're not saying anything. You guys heard that entire statement, and there's nothing that he had to say.
You have often called China an adversary. On just this point of taking on China, bumping up more tariffs on Chinese goods, do you applaud that he is taking China on so directly?
Well, he's not taking it on in a serious manner. In a serious manner, you say, hey, we're going to have a long-term, stable, rising response to the very low wages and very low environmental laws in China that are undermining manufacturing, because we want people to build their factories in the United States.
So the question is, and that's a good answer. It's much different than what Adam Schiff said. This guy has an answer as to what he would do, his idea. So then the other question, which is probably why Adam Schiff doesn't ask it, is, why didn't you do it? If you knew that China was kicking our butt, and your boy was the president inside the White House, and you could have done something about it, why didn't you? We'd love to know. If I was on CNN and he was talking to me, that would have been the question I would have asked. Hey, great answer. I like your idea. Why didn't you do it? No one's going to ask him that. The Adam Schiffs of the world that just want to scream and throw darts, you got nothing. This guy came up with a good answer. Very intelligent. He thought it out. The only part is, why the hell didn't you do it?
When you say I'm sending shock and awe in order to negotiate, no investor is going to build a factory in the United States as a result. So this is a really insanely, it's not crafted, it's not planned, it's from one day to the next. Where am I going to stumble to? Really, this is a testosterone battle right now between Trump and Xi, and what we need is a serious strategy that encourages investment, factories to be built in the United States of America.
Trump seems to be doing.
So he's saying that Trump is not really doing anything that incentivizes factories to move here and do different things. Gotcha. Have you guys heard anything about a company called Novaritis? Novaritis decided they were coming in and going to spend $23 billion today. $23 billion. Every single day we're hearing about another company that is going to open a plant and spend tens of billions of dollars. Apple, $500 billion. And he just said, and I quote, no company is going to come in here and spend any money. It's like as if he's been in a time warp for the last 5 days.
From tweeting people to buy stock and then later announcing his development on taxes. If people are pissed about insider trading here at the House, look at what's happening at the White House right now and with the Republican Party.
Do you think he knew what he was doing when he sent out that message about stocks before he made the announcement?
It sure seemed like he did. I don't think that it was a coincidence. I don't think that Trump just coincidentally said buy stocks and then shortly later made an announcement that dramatically inflated and dramatically raised a lot of these asset prices. And, I've heard murmurings on the floor that there may have been people that knew that this was coming. And I'm very interested in seeing some of the stock disclosures that come out when those reports are due. And I'm very interested in what members of Congress have been buying and trading stocks in the last 24 hours prior to this tariff announcement.
It's a win for the...
Psst. If you tell the world to do something, it's not a secret. I'm just saying. If everybody knew buy stocks, then it's not insider trading, you moron. He posted it in a tweet. It wasn't like it was in Wall Street with Charlie Sheen when he would get the phone call from Michael Douglas. Blue Star likes Endicott steel. oh, okay, we should start buying Endicott steel. It was a secret. This was a post on Truth Social that got passed around to everybody. Hey, if I were you, I'd look at buying. How is that insider if he told everybody? So let's examine that. By posting something on Truth Social and telling people to buy stocks, get it now. And actually what he said was, now is a good time to buy. You really want to go ahead and check those stock charts that you think are going to give you some sort of, edge up on Republicans? Because Nancy Pelosi's been doing this for years. Nancy Pelosi, and I'm sure, Ben Crenshaw and a bunch of other people have been doing stuff secretly. Not in a tweet, hey guys, I'm buying some Apple stock today. Nope, they're not doing that. They've been doing insider trading forever. And you didn't say a word. So if you want to look at disclosures when they come out, make sure that Nancy's is on that list. At the very top of the list, let's see what Nancy Pelosi bought. I would love to see that. Yup, let's find out. Matter of fact, you need to be on that list, AOC. And, the cue ball and the rest of the squad. Love to see what all you guys have been doing. Oh, this goes both ways. If you're so interested, if you think you're on to something, man, what an idiot.
Administration.
What do you say to that, the idea of going from he did this to he did this as a possibility if it bounces back? Do Democrats fear that they won't own the good?
I'm trying not to roll my eyes.
Okay, well, you failed. You rolled your eyes again.
Well, at least I'm trying to get the camera not to catch me rolling my eyes.
I'll roll it soon.
Okay. Come on. We are not stupid. The American people are not stupid. He was catapulting us into a recession. Some of his most conservative allies were like, what are you doing? And he blinked, as he should have, because he was about to destroy the American economy. This was not the plan. They made a mistake. Their math was not mathing, and it hurt America.
Did she not hear Scott Bessent say that 75 countries said we want to come meet? I watched, believe it or not, about 7 of these shows. I sat there with the remote going, and they're all saying the same thing. Oh, he blinked. He caved. He didn't know what he was doing. And not a single one of them, none of them said, well, 75 countries immediately said, we want to come cut a deal. So as far as their audiences are, like you heard Adam Schiff, that's the reason I played this, is because this is the payoff. The payoff is it's a complete lie. None of them. They're all saying, oh, he's just haphazard doing this stuff, and blah, 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 blah. But they don't ever mention that Japan and all these other countries decided they wanted to come and meet with Scott Bessent, and that Scott Bessent is going to be handling the negotiations. None of them said it. Not a one.
Americans. Now spin it all you want, but I will hand you Dramamine after the show because you will be dizzy.
Well, I will say this. There is no doubt that there is a debate in the Republican Party about tariffs, right? What you have heard President Trump campaign on sounds more like Bernie Sanders' economic policy when it pertains to tariffs than Ronald Reagan's. That's not a surprise to anybody. But again, there is political capital to expend when you do a big move like tariff policy. He's trying to rewrite the mistakes of the wrong with NAFTA and other things that he believes drove manufacturing away. Yes, we got low prices. Everyone else got jobs. He's trying to rectify that, like it or not, and there's plenty of dissension on our side of the ball. But that is the policy he's laid out.
Well, Congressman, how do you see this? And by the way, I love the Dramamine quote. That was hilarious. I listened to.
I understand the motive.
See? Nothing. Nothing. They had nothing to say about the other countries coming in. I bet you there are so many people on the right. There are so many people who watch MSNBC, CBS, NBC, ABC, blah, blah, blah. There are so many people who don't even know that these countries are coming in to cut deals. Nobody's telling them. Hence, this is information and your opportunity to let people know, hey, did you know that Japan's coming right away? Do you know that Canada wants to do some things? Do you know this? Because I'm thinking you don't, because you watch these people. And these people aren't going to tell you how quickly those people around the world capitulated. Wasn't Trump flip-flopping. They got on the phone, hey, I'll come see you. Okay, come on, let's talk. You would think it was in a vacuum that people didn't know. They don't know. You're seeing in real time the gaslighting and straight out lying that the media is doing to Americans. And that's why you have an opportunity right now to be that person. Hey, did you know that Canada's coming? Hey, did you know that Japan and this country and this country and this country are coming to cut deals with President Trump because he decided to work with them? And he and just paused it temporarily so that the deals can get done? Do you know he's still doing the tariffs on China? He didn't pause that one. You do know that, right? Oh, I didn't know that. No, they don't know. They don't know. Now, yesterday something happened. Trump was in the Oval Office when he was doing those executive orders, and people looked over, and he on purpose just kind of looked over and said, what are you thinking, Miss Governor? And nobody knew who the hell he was talking to. And then all of a sudden the camera panned and it was Gretchen Whitmer standing there. And people were like, what the hell is Gretchen Whitmer doing in the Oval Office kissing the ring? Well,
motivation behind the tariffs. And I can tell you, here's where President Trump and I do agree. We do need to make more stuff in America. More cars and chips. More steel and ships. We do need fair trade.
Probably won't see that on MSNBC or CBS or all the rest of them. How dare she? How dare she go ahead and sleep with the enemy? Did she really just say, I agree with him on these tariffs? OMG. The possible 2028 candidate for the Democrats is in the Oval Office and then doing a press conference and telling people that I agree with him on these tariffs? Oh, no. And I know so many people, I'm going to look and take some chats right now, and I know people like, I don't trust her. I'm not asking you to trust her. Nobody's trusting Gretchen Whitmer. That's not the point. The point of that is, she, who is going to probably be throwing her hat in the ring in 2028, said, yeah, I agree with him. We need this, we need this, we need this, which is completely contrary to everything you're going to hear in the media. How is that possible? How can one of their front runners, not sure if she is, I know one of the other front runners is Stephen A. Smith, believe it or not, and even he said, I believe in the tariffs. So how come the front runners in the Democrat Party are like, yeah, these tariffs make sense? If they're so crazy, if it's such flip-flopping, why do the people who are supposedly leading your party going, yeah, it makes sense? Ask that question. Gretchen Whitmer, I'm saying, she just said. I didn't make it up. She did. She said it. I don't trust her, but let's go get shit done. See, you're missing the point. I am never going to ask somebody in MAGA to trust Gretchen Whitmer. No, that ain't happening. That's not what my point is here. My point is, as a supposed leader in the Democrat Party, she decided to align on the tariffs. Why is that? And so what I'm talking to you in this regard is if you're looking at this contrast of Adam Schiff blubbering and saying nothing, or Eric Swalwell, why are these people in the Democrat Party drooling and wiping their face because they have nothing to say, and the people who have aspirations realize this is a good idea? That's the parallel of contrast I want you to have. No, I don't trust her. I would never have a reason to trust her. I'm never voting for her. She's a Democrat. But why did she notice it? And I bet you in the next day or so you're going to hear Gavin Newsom, because here's why. The ones who think or even considering running right now, they need to keep up with her. So if you're Gavin Newsom, you're like, wait a second. She came out and said that? Yeah, we need to come out and say it. Do we mean it? I don't know if he means it or not. but he's going to have to keep pace with her. He can't keep pace with the nuts. If he keeps pace with the nuts, he's basically aligning himself with the Kamala Harris crowd. And we already know that. So he's going to have to come out and say something to the effect of, I think these tariffs could make sense. Watch what Gavin Newsom says. Somebody said, right, where is it? Here it is. Jeff says she saw those auto workers chumming up to Trump, so she's there for that. What's Adam Schiff there for? Nothing. He don't care. He's in deep red cheating California. I mean, deep blue cheating California. He doesn't care. I'll say whatever. AOC, she doesn't care. Gretchen Whitmer is a politician who realizes I have aspirations. I better get this right. My people may want this. Adam missed the boat, and Gretchen sent her husband to grab on. Barry Trump don't lie. He said he was going to bring America back together. He's going to win over more and more Dems. He has to. He's forcing their hand. You know, everyone talks about 3D chess and 4D chess. One of the things Trump is doing is he's taking away their ability to make moves. That was the point I was trying to make with Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff had nothing to say. So if you have any aspiration of going higher in the Democrat Party other than some seat in California where nobody pays attention, if you intend, just look at the long view picture here. If you plan on being a player in 2028, you better start looking now, because what he's doing, he's taking all the chips off the table. And if he takes all the chips off the table, as a Democrat, what are you going to be able to run with? You know, the same thing they run with all the time, jobs, they used to, jobs, manufacturing, anti-war. He's taking all those. He's taking all those chips. What are they going to run on? Oh, well, we want to make sure that boys can play in girl sports. Good luck with that. We want to make sure that Transformers can have free operations. You can have that. What else do they have? Start thinking as though you're running for a politician. What would you like to see? And you would say, I want to see more people with jobs. He's doing it. I want to see lower interest rates. He's going to do it. So if I'm a politician, I cannot let him collect all the chips. I cannot run in Kamala Harris's footsteps. So the smart politicians that I don't trust, but they're smart, are saying we cannot let him rake in everything. If he rakes in everything, we're never going to get it away from him. So while Elizabeth Warren is out there acting wacky and AOC is out there acting wacky, watch in the next couple of weeks which politicians seem to move towards the center. These are the ones who have aspirations of taking him on. Not the nuts. Nobody cares about them. Watch what Gavin Newsom. Watch what Gretchen Whitmer. Who else is out there? Forget Kamala. But watch them begin to move to the right, because they have no choice. If you don't have a platform to run, I'm going to raise your taxes, huh? That's what you got. You see? Think of a platform you would run on, and he's basically taking a Roomba and vacuuming all that stuff up. To the point where if a Democrat sits too long complaining, they are not going to be able to wage any sort of campaign against him. So I'm not trusting Gretchen Whitmer. I'm watching Gretchen Whitmer, because she is going to be thinking about her viability. As nutty as he is, you should be watching Stephen A. Smith. If Stephen A. Smith runs, he's going to have a lot of money behind him, and he's being groomed right now to do so. Sick. You're laughing, I'm laughing. But he's starting to say the same things Gretchen Whitmer said. This stuff is for a reason. He's not stuck on the ideology. Obviously, Gretchen Whitmer's not stuck on the ideology. What they want to do is win. If they can lie afterwards, they don't care, but they can't win given no platform. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to keep you guys in a position where you're like, what in the hell? Just think about that. Let's continue.
Coming in under -1/10 on headline, -1/10. We were expecting the exact opposite. We were expecting up 1/10, -1/10. Well, we equal where we were in May of 2020 to find a lower number. Here all the way to April of 2020, the heavy COVID affected.
So the good news keeps coming out. Again, watch yourself if you're a Democrat politician. Whining and complaining is not going to get you votes. What are you going to do about it? Oh, we need to lower inflation. Oh, he's doing it. And just listening to some of this good news that came out just today.
Months of the calendar. If we take food and energy out, still coming in on the under, up 1/10. We're expecting triple that number, up 1/10. Well, that would equal where we were in June of last year. To find a lower number would be 0 in January of 21. These are definitely low numbers.
Consumer prices month over month. So this was actually a drop of 0.1%, negative 0.1%. That's the first time we've seen that since COVID. Year over year, the annual inflation rate was at 2.4%. This was also better than expected and a 6-month low, moving in the...
Okay, so you're watching this from home and seeing these numbers. Politicians are looking at this and going, oh crap, this dude's been in office 3 months. He's been in office 3 months, and look what's happening. So you got Adam Schiff and some of these nuts going, oh, he's out of... They don't matter. The smart people are looking at this and going, oh crap, it's working. So you have to be able to understand and decipher that and go, oh wow, I didn't know that. CNN's cut. This is CNN. The other one was CNBC. So the news is starting to get out there. Oh, it is working. Yeah. While you guys are focusing on the stock market going like this and like this, the other metrics are showing what Trump is doing is working. Now you know.
Right direction. As far as why this happened, there's a few drivers. One thing that really played a role here, as you can see the trend here, the inflation rate dipping a little bit. One of the drivers...
A little bit? You can see the inflation rate dipping a little bit. Wow.
Was energy. The fact that gasoline prices did not move up like they usually do in the month of March, that really...
Oh, the gasoline prices didn't go up like they usually do in the month of March. Oh, stop. Let's talk about that. Why did gasoline prices not go up? Well, he's starting to drill. Quietly.
help the inflation.
So, Mr. O'Leary, what if there was a company called WeatherTech? You know, and they produce really nice mats for their car.
I have them in my F-150.
And they woke up one day and they looked on Alibaba and they saw that their products were being sold on Alibaba. And they looked at their shipping, and they never had done any business with Alibaba. And they looked just like the mats that they produced in Illinois, and they even had their name on it, right? What could they do to stop this theft of their product? And they got nothing for it. What would they?
Okay, so what he just described there is something I was telling you guys yesterday, which they never talk about on the news, called the theft of IP, the theft of intellectual product. And Alibaba is a huge, huge, huge wholesale site of nothing but manufacturers in China who take American products, completely rip them off. They will buy those products, have it sent to them wherever they are, or maybe here in America, and then they ship it to China. But eventually that product lands in front of a Chinese manufacturer's desk. And they hold it up and they look at it and say, okay, we'll now reverse engineer this piece of whatever it is and do all their stuff. I'm like, okay, bring me a prototype. Looks exactly like the one we bought from that America company, and that America company's mat is $150 each for the front sides and everything. What can we sell it for? Well, because we had grandma mowing the leather and doing stuff, we can sell it. I mean, our costs are probably about $2, which means we could sell it at half the price that WeatherTech is selling it. We can sell it for like $80. So when it lands in America and the people are walking through the stores and they're in AutoZone and they look at WeatherTech and it's $150 and it's Sandway, Sand-Eye mats and they're $80, what ends up happening? Well, let's buy the $80 one. We don't need to spend $150, and it's the exact same product. And so when they steal your product and you walk in, hey man, that's mine. You have no option. There's nothing you can do. You cannot sue in China. So they just steal the product, re-engineer the product, and send it back to America at a half price. And it happens every single day, on and on.
What would be their recourse right now?
There is nothing they can do. You have just told the story of 1 million small businesses in America over the last 20 years. They innovate, they create, they're entrepreneurs, they prove their product in the American consumer market at around 5 million in sales. They're knocked off. By whom? China. Very often, the same plants that ran the molds under a relationship they had with the company. A lot of companies went to China 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and put their molds there. And during the day, the company would run the WeatherTech mat, in this example, here theoretically. And then at night, they'd run the knockoff mat. And
if you ever go to Amazon, which I'm sure a number of you do, there's a number disclosed on Amazon. And it'll tell you the ranking of a product. And it'll say, this product, I don't know, this cup, or as I like to use sometimes, my remote for my fan, they'll look and find this remote, and you go ahead and search it on Amazon, and the next thing you know, it says, wow, Barry's remote is number 3 in the country, and it has 40,000 positive reviews. That information, which I don't believe Amazon should be publicizing, is perfect for somebody who wants to do a knockoff. I'm like, wow, obviously it's popular. I'm reading 3 and 4 star reviews. Let's knock it off. Let's go ahead and create the same thing, put it out there for half the price, and I already know, I've already done the research, that it's popular. I don't even have to do different advertising. What are these guys doing for advertising? Oh, I can see that they're putting it on Facebook, or they're putting up YouTube videos, or talking about it on TikTok. And I just do the exact same thing, and I capture the market because why? I can spend so much more on advertising because I'm selling it so much cheaper. Every single day. There was a lady I had posted, she was crying on Twitter, X rather, about, now her costs are two times what they were, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you're an idiot. You bought something, decided to get in business on something that people can pilfer. You don't have anything original. You guys have watched Shark Tank. And one of the things they say on Shark Tank when they're saying no, it's like, I can just do that myself. I can see what you got. I can buy one. I've got staff that can engineer it. I've got a marketing budget. I don't need to invest in you. I can just take your product. And people are, oh, that's mean. It happens every day at a much bigger scale.
They would bring it into the market, let me guess, 30% off retail of WeatherTech. And I've seen this happen countless times. And in some cases where the company's very small, they go out of business. Nobody hears that tree falling in the forest. It happens thousands of times. There's such an immense opportunity here to enforce existing laws, but really at the end of the day, the reason that behemoth company couldn't do anything about it, they have no access to the Chinese courts. They can't resolve the complaint through litigation, as we do.
And now you're thinking to yourself, well, why don't they just sue Amazon? Amazon's selling 1,000 pieces a day of their product. You know how much money's flying back and forth through Amazon? So, hey, I got nothing to do with it. I just provide a platform to sell. But it's mine. I own it. Well, no, they've got their certificate from China. It's theirs. There's nothing you can do. And I'm telling you, if you're looking to get into e-commerce, it happens every single day. I was working with a company, don't have them close to me. They were making exercise bands. You guys have seen those bands. They were making it, and they thought they were the ones that you could like add on and have a different level of poundage and just keep going. And I'm like, that's cool. That's really novel. What are you going to do when people in China see it? And the guys are like, what do you mean? They're going to take this in about 30 days. If they see you get high on Amazon, if they see that your e-commerce site is actually getting some traction, they're going to steal it. And you can actually see people go, I don't get it. Well, they're going to watch your sales, they're going to watch your movement and see how you're ranked. And if you get up there in ranking, they are going to reverse engineer your product, and then they are going to sell it for half the price that you were selling it, and they're going to target your customers with advertising. Well, how are they going to target? And I would have to explain to them how you do that. Because I can target, if I was placing advertising, I could target another company's customers. In the back end of Facebook and everywhere else, you can target another company's customers. So if you're looking, oh, by the way, you know that recently viewed stuff on Amazon where people can see you recently viewed something? That is a target for ads. Show me all the people in zip code 17512 who in the last 30 days have viewed the bands. Boom, here you go, advertise to them. It's that, am I giving myself away? Yes, I've done it for people. People have come to me and said, Barry, can you go ahead and market this for me? And some people will say, can you market it quickly? Because I know it's going to get stolen. I need to get in and get out of the market as soon as possible. And somebody will say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at what people most recently viewed. You can get that data. And then you can say, here it is, on sale, same product, and it's going to cost you 50% less. Buy today. And before China can get in, you sell it and get out. You take an opportunistic swing at it. When I was in 2016, and I was selling Trump hats, and I was the biggest Trump hat seller in the country. It literally took, and I mean literally took, about 60, 80 days or so before there were a whole bunch of people selling Make America Great Again hats. And the only way I was able to do anything is because we had worked enough to get ourselves high, enough where we got enough people who liked the page and all kinds of stuff like that. But it was short-lived. It's not an ongoing business. So when you see people on Shark Tank, now you know what they say. You don't have any IP. There's nothing unique about what you're selling. And Kevin has said many times, I have designers, I have engineers, I can do this product and have it in market in 30 days at half your cost. Another term you hear often if you're watching Shark Tank, not to get off the, you'll hear landed. And go ahead, you can put on any episode and you'll hear them say, what's your price landed? And what that means when they say to somebody, what's your price landed, is when you buy it from China or Vietnam, how much is the final cost for that product to be in your warehouse landed? Not what you're paying here. I want to know. And they'll say it's $12 landed. And so you just gave the world, because I'm telling you the other thing is China watches Shark Tank. The China watches Shark Tank. And they say, oh, he's funding that? Okay. And they're running to market first. Who can get there? Who can make this product and get it cheaper landed? So Kevin O'Leary is telling you absolute truth.
Sure. So my recommendation is, look, if you're a Chinese company and you want to use our courts to litigate your complaint, sorry, not until you open yours. We'd love to work with you, but unless it's a reciprocal play, the whole idea of today's conversation was just to get to a reciprocal playing field, a even playing field. American companies have always been very competitive anywhere on earth when given a chance on a transparent and competitive playing field. That's not the case in China. I mean, we're all saying the same thing here. It's got to get fixed. And finally, here we are with tariffs being the excuse, but now I think she has to come to the table, and I hope it happens. And I'd like to see tomorrow morning 400% tariffs.
And that freaked people out all over the place. 400% tariffs? Oh my God. And all the Democrats, all of a sudden, I saw some things on X today. It cracked me up. Somebody said, don't be surprised if in the next few days or a week you see people putting Chinese flag in their bio. These people are so warped. I would not. And I'm like, it's happening. You know it's coming. People will be putting Chinese flags in their bio. They brainwash these people. Oh no, China. Oh, don't go after China. Man, it's sick. Absolutely sick. All right. I got the 10 coming up. I will be right back.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I can't believe we've gone 2 hours already. Man, that goes quickly. So just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping here. If you didn't see my interview with Lara Trump this afternoon, I'm going to splice that. I'm going to put it as its own video, just that segment. So if you'd like to watch that, look for that tomorrow. I won't have time tonight to cut it, but I thought it was a great interview. People thought they told me they liked it, so I hope you enjoy it. Secondly, now this is going to be interesting. Tomorrow I have an interview with the guy's name. Let me just make sure I've got his name correct, so I can tell it to you. Calendar. All right. So those of you who are anti-Jasmine Crockett people, I've got an interview tomorrow with Sheldon Daniels. And Sheldon is going to be running against Jasmine Crockett. And we're going to do a pre-record. So hopefully we have an interview, because this interview, and Sheldon, if you're watching, you might want to prepare. I've got some questions because there were some weird things he has previously posted on X. Hopefully by now he's got some good answers for what he had previously posted. But this guy, if he's going to run against Jasmine Crockett, he's going to be underfunded, so he better be on point. I mean, he better be right there. And then Sunday at 3 p.m., I'm going to do an open discussion with the veteran biker. Some of you guys have watched some of his stuff. I like his stuff. He's very good. I've been on his show. And it's not going to be an interview. It's going to be two guys talking about stuff. Two guys just giving you their opinion on everything. So that should be very interesting. I know some of you guys really liked Ben over at the Veteran Biker. And so he'll be here Sunday at 3 p.m. And we'll go as long as everybody wants to hear stuff from him. All right, here we go. Let's go.
Here's the big finish. 10 stories that you just gotta hear. Number 10.
We can't underline enough how significant this is for the hundreds of thousands, millions of people that have been through the process, have paid taxes, has filed through ITIN.
Right, and I think that one of the most important things is that
status is not static. It evolves. So a person can have no status and they go through the system, a system that takes 5 years plus to actually get any legal status. Even when that visa is immediately available, there's still a lag time. And
so what this is about is because word came out that there was a deal cut between the IRS and DHS where they're going to be sharing information, which of course now the left is freaking out because Tom Homan and his boys will be able to access IRS information to see what these newcomers have been doing.
Although we don't know much of whose taxpayer information is going to be disclosed, we do know that ICE was trying to get people who have removal orders and haven't departed within 90 days. But when you look at who that is actually going to affect, it's going to be people who have been in this country for over 10 years, people who have U.S. citizen children, people who are married to U.S. citizens, and the information that also might be disclosed if there's employer information. This is really a silent way for ICE to expand its deportation ability.
It's not silent. There's nothing silent about it. They are going to be looking for people who shouldn't be here. Period. I don't care if you were here a year or 10 years. You have a way to remedy it. Leave. So there's nothing covert about it. They've told everybody, we now are going to be looking into the IRS and we're going to find people who aren't supposed to be here. It's really simple. Leave.
Number 9.
Passing this initial budget resolution should have been a slam dunk for Republicans. They had to pull the bill down off the floor last night and barely struggled to pass it today.
Okay. I've never heard anyone on a losing team that I've played against say, they should have beat us by more. That's what he's saying. Oh, you know what? They were only favored by 20, but they could have beat us like by 35. But we did some things to keep it lower. This is what this idiot is saying. He's actually out there saying it could be worse. They should have beat us by more points.
We had 2 tragic deaths in the House Democratic Caucus. Had those deaths not occurred last month, Republicans could not have even passed the bill today. So it's going to be very difficult for them because once the committee process starts, they can no longer pretend as if they're not intending to cut Medicaid and nutritional assistance and hurt veterans all across the country.
This guy's really stupid. We only lost by a little bit, but that's okay because next time we'll have game film on them and we can see what they're going to be doing. And this time 2 people died, two congressmen died. That's his excuse. This is a legitimate politician. That's what you got. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed to say something like that. We only lost because 2 people died. What an idiot.
Number 8.
I got to tell you, I think what's fascinating to me is that the corruption is just completely out in the open at this point, because these kinds of actions where Trump...
She could have stopped right there. She could have stopped and said, we're seeing all this stuff from Doge. The corruption is right out in the open. And I'd have went, you go, Sonny. You got it. You understand what's going on. But she wasn't talking about Doge. They haven't mentioned a thing about Doge. Not a word.
Tweeted out before this little pause, he said, this is a great time to buy. And that's really a whistle to those billionaires or people that have money that can buy low and then the stock market prices go up. That's generally called insider trading. And that would...
Like I told you, their audience is dumb. It's not insider trading. That is, having sold stock, I can tell you what insider trading is. Insider trading, well, you know. I don't have to tell you. The word went out. The early morning fact said, go ahead and start hammering this narrative. That might work. Maybe it'll work. Maybe people will care. Only billionaires made money. Really? Really? Only billionaires made money? Wow. So you're saying if the President of the United States says you should buy, he's telling you an insider information, right? Yeah. What stock should you buy? When should you buy it? What's your in point? What's your exit? You see, if you're going to get involved with some insider trading, you got to know a lot more information than buy. I've never known anyone who was involved in insider trading who said, hey, just go ahead and buy. What am I buying? What? Tell me more. What's the set price? What do I need to get out? Am I buying an option, a call, a put? What am I buying? Having worked with so many stockbrokers, I can tell you that's not insider trading. It'd be the worst advice as an insider trader could ever give you. I don't even know what I'm doing. How much should I put in?
Ordinarily trigger an investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
No, it would.
We know now that that's not probably going to happen because all of these government agencies have been, destroyed and dismantled. But someone with knowledge of an economic policy change that would cause the markets to shoot back up right before posting about how great a time it is to buy right before the policy change happened would certainly be guilty of insider trading in my.
Well, let's see if somebody brings it to a court and says, "Hey, what about that?"
Numbers.
Please, I hope somebody is stupid enough to do that. Norm Eisen, if you're listening, go ahead. I would love to see the amount of people who get snared up in that bear trap. It would be amazing. Maybe that's how we get rid of some of these Democrats. Go ahead. Start an investigation. Purport that to be insider trading and see what happens.
7.
Realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
Numbers.
You can't buy a house because of immigration and deportations. She actually just said that. I saw that and I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell is wrong with these people? You can't buy a house because of deportations. I'm pretty sure if you went someplace and put an offer on a property, that unless you need the income because, I don't know, you own a company where there's a whole bunch of newcomers that work for you, when you go to apply for that mortgage, well, first of all, when you buy the house, if you got the down payment, you can get the contract signed. It has nothing to do with deportations. You want to buy a house, it's $500,000, and you decide you want that house, and you go up there with, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, whatever, and the owner accepts it, they're not asking you, hey, by the way, are you for deportation or not? Because I'm not sure we should sell this to you, because if you're for deportation, we don't want to do that. Nope, that's never going to happen. Then your mortgage company, they're going to say, hey, Fred, you want to buy this house? Okay, looks like you got a good down payment. Let's go ahead and run your credit. Let's, verify your income. And then, oops, wait a second. Uh-oh. Were you for deportation? Can't do that mortgage, man. Why? Because you don't realize that by deporting newcomers, it affects your ability to pay your mortgage. Silly guy.
6.
So I want to just be clear about this. Here in this document, Facebook is talking about making Chinese user data available to the Chinese government because they're going to store that data in China. Is that correct?
Correct.
But when you store that data in China, Americans who exchange messages or other information with Chinese Facebook users, that would mean the Chinese government could get access to the American data as well. Is that correct?
Through the POP servers, potentially, yes.
And Facebook was willing to take that risk?
Yes, there was a lot of discussion about this, and ultimately, yes.
I mean, this is extraordinary. This is exactly contrary to what Facebook has represented for years. Here, they're willing to build data centers, store data in China. They are willing explicitly to give the Chinese government access to it. And if that means that American user data is also compromised, they're willing to do that too. All for profits in China. There was virtually nothing they weren't willing to do.
So, probably most of you have been on Facebook at some time over the last 10 years. And why that's not the biggest story in the news right now over everything, even bigger than the tariffs, is that Facebook was sharing personal data of Americans, not even sharing, giving personal data of Americans to the Chinese government. So everything you did, your private messages, what you purchased, how often you purchased it, what you said about this or that, show them pictures of your family, barbecues, your high school, your education, they got it all. And you never knew. And Mark Zuckerberg was getting paid gazillions in order to do that. And of course, our government went along with it. Now we know, without a shadow of a doubt, because of this hearing, they have all your data. So when people say, I'm worried about my privacy, welcome to the post-privacy world. There is no privacy anymore. It doesn't exist. It hasn't existed for quite some time. That's Lily. There is no privacy. Get used to it. Understand this is where we are right now. And nobody is doing anything, or to put it this way, nobody has done anything about it. That's kind of scary. That's really scary.
5.
Well, a 90-day pause doesn't mean anything to anyone because people are, as you say, struggling with everything they're living with on a day-to-day basis. Now you know what we're fighting against. But I also believe that it's very important to remind people that now is the time for each and every one of us to suck it up and make sure that we know what we need to take care of. If you're in an area where the school district is losing, then you got to pay a little more taxes and you got to help the schools out. If you're finding that your libraries are falling apart, you have to give more.
Number 4.
I told you, these people want more of your money constantly. If you got to give more money, you got to pay higher taxes, more. They're already starting, and their idiot fans probably listen to them and want to give more. You know why they want more money from you? Because they're going to need it to replenish all these newcomers who are getting booted out of here. They got to find a way to do something. Right now, Trump's doing something else. What time is it? It's 9:53 at night. This got posted. When did this get posted? 9:45. So you got some breaking news that Trump is again doing something, and he just did this 8 minutes ago. Trump admin starts voiding Social Security numbers to force self-deportation. The Trump administration has started invalidating Social Security numbers of immigrants with temporary legal status, moving them to an ineligible master file. This move aims to force self-deportation. The first group impacted includes 6,000 immigrants with criminal records or alleged terrorism ties. Critics call it, illegal, warning it could affect others with legal status. I'm pretty sure there ain't nobody here who's worried about that. So this is going to be something else they're going to have to run to the courts with. They can't keep up with him. They can't put all their fingers in all the holes at this point. This man is executing whoever is coming up with his plans and how they're devising them. Bam, it's almost surgical at this point. And it's making these people have to basically stay up 24/7 trying to figure out how to fight him. Wow. And then someone said earlier today he was tired. Dude, it's 9:54. He's a 78-year-old man. I don't know when they had that ready to post, but nonetheless, thanks SV for sending that over. But good gosh, man, dude's running.
This morning. Hey, Kevin, what's your reaction to this now? I guess when they went over the math, it's not 125%, it's 145%, the U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods.
I've been an advocate for raising it to 400% in one move to force Xi to the table, because this narrative with China is not just about tariffs. Since China joined the WTO in 2020, or it's actually 2000, they have not abided by the rules in any single year. There is no way you can figure out or settle a trade dispute with them, although they said they'd agree to do that. They never did. They have been constantly stealing American IP, including many from my companies. We have not been able to litigate there. There is no resolution available to us. They are using our financial markets. I have to compete with Chinese companies that don't abide by.
Now, you're probably saying to yourself, Barry, you just played something by Kevin talking about this. He's pretty much saying the same things. Why are you playing this again? Oh, this is different. You see, this host on MSNBC, he's not happy with what Kevin has to say. And my dog's going crazy out there.
Gap listing on NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange for investors' dollars, and I am forced to comply, and they're not. They're allowed to use our legal system to sue me here in the United States. I can't do the same in China. So I'm just one hand. I put up my hand. I was testifying yesterday at the China hearings in Washington, and I said I've had enough. And I expect you, lawmakers, and the administration to finally go to task and settle this once and for all, because I don't care if it's 1,000% tariffs. They have to come to the table now and not just settle this trade war. They need to settle all of this unbalanced situation. We need all of us. Look, I have nothing against the Chinese people. I love the Chinese people. All of their contributions to culture over the millennia is well documented. It's the government. They cheat, they steal, they don't play by the rules, and I've had enough. And so I would like this thing worked out. I don't care about the volatility. I don't care if Trump ratchets it up 25% a day.
What do you mean? Wait, Kevin. What do you mean you don't care about volatility if volatility has a direct impact on us as the consumers?
Because we have to fix this problem once and for all. It's killing us. It's killing small business in America. It's killing large businesses. All the IP these guys steal. You go back and look at all of their technological advancements, and this is a personal estimation, you're going to find source code from American companies back 4 decades ago. These guys don't play by the rules. And administration after administration, whether it be European or American, have not dealt with this. It's enough. We've got to solve this problem. Okay. Now, if we have to squeeze Chinese heads to the wall, as I said yesterday when I was testifying, so be it. I'm willing to live with the volatility to get the long situation settled. I want to compete in China. I want to open up those markets.
If what you're saying is carried out to...
If. Oh, boy.
To its ultimate solution, you're talking about the fact that China, the regime, has a system in place that is able to manipulate the world, its currency, and everything else because of its totalitarian nature. Now, we can talk about what happened in 48. We can talk about what happened with Taiwan. We can talk about everything else. But Kevin, it's a reality. The Cultural Revolution in China killed millions of people so that people would remember that they had to remain silent. What you're saying is, I've had enough with China, but
you're good with it?
No,
you're okay with
it? No. On the contrary, but what I'm asking you is, what is the solution to dealing with China, a system that systematically violates human rights,
Here's how
and that
it works.
is able to use...
Well,
isn't the system, the solution clear? If you've got a tumor, you take it out. I don't understand. Well, maybe I do. Maybe the media is being paid by China. Maybe that's one of the things that has been keeping them on the air. Is they've been getting money from China. But what are you doing defending that? If something is not right, you go to the doctor and you have it fixed. You just don't ignore it. Hey, what's the solution? The solution is to get it out. That's the solution. It's very simple. Get rid of it. Oh, if we get rid of it, things are going to be more expensive and the impact on people here. Okay. That's what people have to get to. They have to get to the point where they go, okay, I'll have to get over it. I'll have to understand things are going to be more expensive. There's nothing else I can do about it. We have to stop it. And these guys don't want to.
That's right. You've got Xi.
Okay.
He's the supreme leader for life. What keeps him in power?
Yes.
Keeping people employed and fed. Now, when you shut down a factory, I think Janice Mackey-Farrer just saw me before me, he's talked about this. When you shut down a factory, you put thousands, if not tens of thousands of people unemployed in China. They take burning torches, just like in a Frankenstein movie, up to the castle, and that's a bad outcome for the supreme leader. He knows that. Now, what's the largest consumer market on earth? The United States. Almost 40% of all goods consumed worldwide. What's the largest GDP? 25 or 26% GDP of the world? The United States of America. China needs the United States of America. We have the upper hand right now. We have the car.
Not just China. See, all the other people you've heard tonight who are telling you that Trump's willy-nilly and he's backflipping, they don't quote those stats. They don't quote the stats that we are 25% of the GDP of the entire world. I've made my analogy so many times about us being the homecoming queen, and none of the Democrats seem to want to defend the homecoming queen. They don't realize we hold all the cards. This isn't even a hard negotiation. You guys need to understand that. They want us. They need what's in your wallet. Every single one of these countries wants what's in your wallet. So what's the best way to, the solution, as this guy says? Don't give them access. Turn it off. We don't care. Go to 1,000%. I don't care. We'll find something else to buy.
Now's the time to settle this, because we may not be the largest economy forever, but right now we can squeeze Chinese, and I'm talking about the government, not the people, to comply with the laws and get a level playing field between China and the United States of America. If it takes a little volatility, a little indigestion, a little acid reflux, I don't care. I want this thing worked out now, because I can show you countless occurrences of where I've backed, as an investor, a company that gets to $5 million in sales with a consumer good or service on Amazon, on Alibaba, and then as soon as it hits $5 million, it's knocked off. They steal the IP, they manufacture it there, they sell it back into this market. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with that anymore.
That's the nature of the...
Number.
See, I don't understand why our politicians and our media aren't as pissed off at China as somebody like Kevin O'Leary. That's the attitude. That's some righteous anger. I'm tired of being bent over. I'm done. And they're trying to soft walk this thing like there's another opportunity, there's some other agreement here. No, there is none. We have let the proverbial fox in our hen house, and the fox is just running around having its way, and you're saying, well, don't do anything because we might, no, we may lose 10 chickens, but we got to do something.
I believe that he ambushed China. I believe that he suckered the whole world into believing that he was going to go down in this, this Harry Carey, this suicide mission.
So you think this is
him against the world?
The plan all along?
I think with him, it's so much spontaneous. But I believe it evolved. I mean, Monday, so many people were feeling terrible pain. Yeah. The markets were tanking. There was no, end in sight. People were watching their 401ks, their IRAs disappear. The whole nation was, I think, trembling over the uncertainty of where we were going with this. He was picking a fight with the entire world. So I said Monday, well, isn't the problem China? Why are we getting everybody, UK, European Union, Japan, etc. China's the problem. I couldn't understand it. But then this morning, I tell the New York story quickly. Yep. I'm at the Regency Hotel with a dear old friend of mine, David Sherrill, who does the stocks. Erica and I, my wife and I are together.
You're a broker?
You were my broker. Of course. We're talking about, oh my God, this is awful, but we're doing the right thing. You have to have courage. You have to stick it out. I went to my Twitter followers. I said, please don't sell. This is on Sunday and Monday. Please don't sell unless you absolutely have to. And then, look what he does. Oh, surprise. This is why Trump is triumphant. This is why you can't.
He's unpredictable. That's why he's successful. That's why he gets to do the things that he does. Read The Art of the Deal. You'll find out what he did to Tiffany's in Manhattan when he was building Trump Tower. And he needed to be able to go up higher. You just need to read that. I've talked about it before on here. You find where the vulnerabilities are, and you go after those vulnerabilities. And you have to swim like a shark, because everybody else they're prey. I mean, you're prey to them. You want to take these people out. You want to win. And the way to do it is to be able to cut the best deal over and over and over. And then sometimes, like the casinos, you end up flat on your face. But the whole idea is to be up more than you're down. And right now, before he was running Trump Organization. Now he's got the best minds in economics surrounding him. Some people don't like Howard Lutnick. Some people don't like Scott Bessent. But these guys right now are making moves with Trump that are astounding people. And the Democrats can't keep up because they don't have the minds. The minds aren't on their side. You gave up Elon. You gave up Scott Bessent. You gave up Howard Lutnick. These people were all Democrats. And they're like, I'm not commie. I'm not a commie. I can't do your Marxist crap. I want to make money. I want to profit, so I can't be with you. And so, yeah, one of the things that he's able to do is move quickly. And you can see the Democrats can't do that.
Interesting. Great breakfast, by the way, at the Regency. Yeah. You know what's interesting about it? The president, you talk about going to your Twitter followers, he went to his, I don't think it was Twitter, it's probably his own platform, Truth Social, right after the market opened today. And he said, great time to buy.
What a tease. But then, when he said that, everything was gloom and doom.
Right, but he knew he was going to make this announcement, apparently. He said he
knew, of course he knew. Well, then he says, oh, by the way, I have this ace of spades. There it is, and now you know.
Is that a little shady to you, though, that kind of thing? Or?
I think when you're dealing with, these giant forces, China's been, they've been cleaning our clock for a long time.
Right.
Making a lot of money on the U.S. trade in a lot of different ways. Dumping product, not taking ours at all. How many Chevys and Fords and Buicks are riding around in Beijing, I wonder. Not very many.
They used to like Buicks, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that what he did was brilliant. And a lot of people are heaving a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah.
People.
Now understand, you're listening to someone who used to be friends, kind of fell out, said some nasty things about him. So what you probably, if you're reading between the lines here, Geraldo made a whole bunch of money in the last couple of days. The smile on his face isn't from somebody who missed the boat. That's a smile of somebody, yeah. I knew the guy. I may have not been happy with him, but I know if Trump is doing something. The dude told the world, bye. What idiot? Sorry, I shouldn't say idiots. What people who were in a position to do something saw him post that and went, hey, he's just kidding, isn't he? No, you push some chips in. Bye. It's going to be good. And I've told you before, I'll say it again, keep watching. When the announcement that the plane is in the air coming from China, it's going to happen again. And when Japan lands in the next couple of days or next week or so, and they cut a deal, it's going to happen again. There are going to be indicators that you can see that are going to show you it's about to happen again. So just be ready. It is funny, I mentioned the Tiffany story, and James Holzman said, yeah, Trump bought the airspace above Tiffany's, and they laughed at him. Imagine if somebody comes to you at your house and they say, hey Barry, yeah, I'll pay you, 10 grand for the air above your property. You're like, what? 10 grand for the air rights? All right. I don't have an airplane. Sure, you can have it. And the next thing you know, he's building Trump Tower. He wanted some extra units. He knew he couldn't buy the land, so he built up. And then when he got to a certain height, he went like this and then continued building. And down there was Tiffany's. He bought the air rights so that he could go up, go out, and go up some more. Brilliant. People in New York still talk about that. Like, he bought air rights? Yeah, he bought the air rights. What are you going to do with the air rights? I'm going to build a building over you, because I have the rights to, and now I'm going to go up another 20, 30 stories. Look at pictures of Trump Tower. You can actually see where it juts out and then goes back up. engineering marvel, marvelous idea, everything about it.
Staring at the abyss. No one knew how far this was going to go, whether we really were off the cliff forever. And, I just feel sorry for all the people who chickened out and sold out and took major losses, because that's the thing about the market. When somebody wins, somebody else has lost.
What do you think his goal is here in all of this? Or maybe it's both, but I'm having a hard time seeing how you could do both. In other words, does he want to bring back all these manufacturing jobs? That's what he talks about all the time. If so, you'd want to keep the tariffs on, theoretically, even if, that's what, and then force people to move their businesses here. Or is he just trying to cut some sort of, he's cutting better deals?
I don't know, Connell, because that's way above my pay grade. But what I do know is that the United States now provides services to the world. We do what we do best. Yeah. There are countries that manufacture stuff and they do it as well as we do for a lot less money. You can't have barriers. The United States exists, and I hate to sound like a globalist, but it is an international reality. And I just think he wants the best possible deal he can get for the United States of America. God bless him for that. That's why people really dig the guy. That's why he's hard to beat. That charisma is unbelievable. I could sing his praises forever. And I wonder if I was sitting here and the market was down 2,000 instead of being up, all these thousands, if I would be singing the same tune. I hope so. It just seems to me that this...
So he just told you. Yeah, I made a bunch of money. Yeah, the President of the United States, it wasn't a secret. He told everybody, get some. So I don't see how it's insider trading and who you're going to go after, Democrats. Your misery is not working. Even people like Geraldo, hey, I knew him. When I saw him say that, I'm like, oh, you might got to get some.
Trump writ large. This is the guy, the way he does business. He suckered China in, trying to put their neck way out there. We're going to fight you to the end, says President Xi. And guess what? The United States pulls a fast one.
Well,
Number 2.
Some people didn't like that. Some people are like wondering, did he pull a fast one? Well, the only person that matters to in terms of did he pull a fast one would be China. Did China blink? Everybody's saying that President Trump blinked. Well, who still has a huge tariff on their stuff? China. Who is he trying to stop from taking advantage of the United States? China. They're the ones who blinked. They're the ones who tried to call his bluff. And why are the media and Democrats mad?
How do you feel about the tariffs?
Well, I feel like for years we've been getting ripped off, and why not make it fair? 0-0. And I think Trump was upfront about it. He said we're going to hurt some now.
I think some of the countries they're already starting to come around. It's going to be good. I really believe that.
You have faith in Trump?
Yes, I do.
I think he's doing the right thing. In order for us to get back where we need to be,
you look at that.
He needs to get the money somewhere, and they're charging us. Why not charge them?
Number.
It's good to see some people, even like older people, understand this is very simple. It's not complicated. You're charging us, and people here are mad that we're charging back. And it really does seem so elementary. You punch me, well, then you should expect to punch back, right? But the Democrats and the media are like, no, you shouldn't be punching Canada and Mexico. Those are our allies. They're our trading partners. But they never tell you how much they're hitting you. You're supposed to just accept it, deal with it, live your life as a peasant, and help the people in Canada and Mexico and other 75 countries. Let them prosper. You don't need to. That's becoming a very hard sell now that more and more people, like the people you just saw, are starting to realize and go, man, they're charged. People didn't know. If anything else, now Trump has exposed this, that there's an imbalance and that people were taking advantage of you. Most people didn't even know what Canada was charging. Now you do. Most people didn't know that China was stealing IP. Now you do. They're not talking about it. The Democrats don't want people to know that America has been taken advantage of. Now you know, now you have to tell other people. And you have to be consistent with it. Just like this person, who you know.
Works President Ashley Hayek and Turning Point USA Frontline's White House correspondent Monica Page. Welcome to you both. Monica, you first. Here's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on special report this evening. He said this, which I found interesting.
We'll give you a chance to negotiate, and after you negotiate, if you don't really bring it, you know what the number's going to be, so you better bring it fully with us to do the right deal, or that's going to be your tariff going forward.
I mean, we were talking last night about this, Monica. We said, hey, listen, he's got all these countries lined up, 75 countries, 70 countries at that time. Maybe he gives them a little bit of time. Maybe he says, you know what, let's give him some time to negotiate to kind of catch up on things. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, President Trump's plan and his strategy here has been simple. Isolate China and then unite these countries that want to negotiate with you. China has raked in $1 trillion. That's trillion with a T. Last year alone in U.S. trade deals. Why? Question mark. Because American leaders in the recent years have been really predictable. And when you're predictable, you are really opening yourself up to being taken advantage of. And what Trump is doing is saying, if you punch us, we will punch back 10 times harder. And that is the strategy, and it's been simple, and it's clearly proven to be working.
Thanks, Monica. That's it. That is what is happening. You're punching us, we're going to hit you hard. Speaking of hitting hard, by the way, I had to show that because anytime Monica's on television, I want to help push her and get her some people to view her stuff. But SV just posted this. It says the United States has hit Yemen with 11 airstrikes in 1 hour. U.S. jets reportedly launched 11 separate raids on areas surrounding Yemen's capital. He told you it was coming. Hey, again, we're getting ready to sign off here. And we're getting ready to, go to bed and whatever you're going to do. I'm going to have a little bit to eat and then hang out with the wife. But it's 10:17. We've been on for nearly 3 hours. And throughout this show, I've had to break and go, oh, Trump did this. Oops, Trump did that. And now he just attacked Yemen. So as a Democrat and as the media, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to react to this guy who's just keeps going? Everything is so fluid, and you don't know what is going to happen next. He counts on that. That is his strategy. People are like, no, how do you deal with someone who just does this one day and just the other day? You don't. That's what he's hoping for. You can't deal with it. So unless you want to be next, Iran, he's told you. You have all heard it. Hey, Iran, you're not getting a nuclear weapon. It ain't going to happen. So if you don't do something, I will. And so at this point, you have to believe that many, 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 many world leaders now are like, this dude's serious. Oh, yeah. Oh, you need to come here. You need to kiss the ring. Do what America needs to have happen. Help my people. Stop taking advantage of us. We're no longer bending over for you. And those of you who think about harming us, my boy Pete's got something to say to you. And at this point, if you're a world leader, you have to take the deep breath and go, man, this guy's capable of anything, isn't he? And you're never going to know. I don't understand how you would know. He warns people. If there's nothing else President Trump doesn't do, he tells you, if you don't do this by this day, just letting you know, if you don't do this, boom. And that boom can be economics. That boom can be, ordinances. It's still a boom. And so you know what's coming down the road. I've pointed it out so many times. Look at the tea leaves. Look at what's next. You know somewhere along the way here, the whole pharmaceutical advertising thing is about to happen. Boom. He's doing it. He's doing his thing. All right, so new beach. Let's see, Barry, were you taught that food and drug sectors are recession-proof because people must eat and take their medications? Are recession-proof? No. How could food be recession-proof if, something happens with the sector? If you can't get enough soybeans, if you can't get enough wheat, no, it's not recession-proof. I wasn't taught that. I was taught to look at the metrics and the indicators and understand where things were going. SB with another update. Asian markets sink as Trump's tariff jolt investor confidence. Asian markets, he's talking Friday, meaning overnight. Asian markets plunged Friday with Japan's Nikkei dropping 5.4% and Australia's ASX falling 2.3% as traders reacted to Trump's 90-day tariff pause and 145% cumulative rate on China. You know what Trump is calling that? A good plan. It's working as planned. And so he's fine with it. You just got to get fine with it. Everything you're seeing, and again, SB, this stuff is happening at night. There's a lot of people probably in Washington who ain't getting much sleep these days because of what he's been doing. And as far as I'm concerned,
we're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
See, there's a lot of people who don't recognize this as winning. There are a lot of people who think of it as chaos. But sometimes chaos is good. Chaos can be organized. Chaos can lead to other success. I don't even know what else he's got planned, but I know he's not done. And I think he's not done as well. All right, so let me play this. Hey, if you'd like to join 15,000 plus fellow patriots on X in our private X/Twitter group, go to fanfareshop.org/group. Just put in that URL in your browser. It'll take you right to our private group on X. Love to see you there. Let's share some content. And all right, so let me, at this point, read the super chats, and that way we can call it an evening. All right, here we go. Your interview with Laura Trump was fantastic. Thank you very much. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and take a look at that. I enjoyed myself, and I hope I asked questions that gave a little bit better insight into, the Trump family, Laura Trump, all of them. And she tells a story about what was happening with her and her family on July 13th, which it's really compelling when you think about it. It's pretty crazy. I forgot to tell you about this. I showed you the blanket, but I hadn't shown you the knife as of yet. Let me just show you the information on the knife. All right, so folks, Trump is actually actively working still tonight at this hour. He's doing stuff. He just keeps going. And it's only going to get better from here. And as a celebration, Patriot Addict is sending our free Trump red knives to people who voted for Trump or are watching my channel. This is just their way of saying thank you for supporting him and being a part of this moment in history. Normally, this knife retails for $70, but right now you can get it just for the cost of shipping, which is $13.99, I believe. Just scan the QR code over here or visit berryknife.com to apply your 100% off coupon and claim your Trump knife today before they're all gone. And again, that's berryknife.com, or scan the QR code right over here. Just real quick, let me just show you this knife without cutting myself so you can see it. And open it up, boom. And once again, doing my Vanna White imitation. Here's the knife. It's good size, weighted. I've got pretty big hands, so you can see how big this knife really is. You can actually get an idea how big that knife is. It's strong, it's durable, it's got the seatbelt cutter right there, It's got the glass breaker on this side in case you get stuck inside. And it's really easy to use. It's a good knife, very sharp. Many of the people that you're talking to in chat right now have gone and, hit the QR code and gotten this knife. So if you want it, it's $13.99, I believe, with shipping to do that. Let's go here. All right. Joe Autumn, Trump says he's going to run in 2028. People think he's joking, but he's not providing detail. In my opinion, he'll run as the vice president. Interesting. That would be smart. Miss Abby, Democrats really believe we voted for them. We don't even like them. They still don't get it. Tim Allred says that, Barry, you're right. Voting is a right. You should have to prove that you have that right. It doesn't convey onto people who aren't from here. Tim again, why don't you just leave your mic on? I got $5 on a new system. Really, Barry, never see anyone else forget to turn their mic on. Empty air is not a good thing when you're informing people, because let me just tell you why. Once in a while, I have to clear my throat. So unless you want to hear, that's why I turn it off. Oh, that's the only reason I turn it off, because as I'm talking, sometimes I have to grab a drink and clear my throat, and I don't want to clear my throat while it's, especially if I'm cutting to something, I'm like, okay, you got a chance, but, the whole light thing that's sitting right here, I just have to make sure that light stays on. All right. Miss Abby, the blanket shown on site is missing Trump's name. Well, I have it, so I will actually ask them about that. Despina Angelis, the Eagle logo was upside down. Get Carl DeMeo. Just another knucklehead. I turned this light up too much. Hold on. All right. I never had a problem in the Navy. My wife has been married twice. Just show the marriage license and birth certificate. Loser Dems. Yeah, they're lying. Jose Gonzalez, is it true that Ukrainian officials released the names of all politicians? I have not heard that. Hey, Danny, it's sad how the Dems disrespect black Americans. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing telling them we're too stupid. We don't know how to get ID. We use a computer. Advil, cold and sinus ID. Yep, you have to. They're back behind the counter under glass. Viking King, no way. I worked at a Caldor as well in the sporting goods in New Jersey. All right, so you remember Caldor. I don't even know what happened to them, but yeah, they went out of business. Jeremiah Kerr, remember these libtards are still funded as of April 1st, when the money runs out that they stole from us. Leon Combs, Barry, check European Union on possible gas purchase. Okay. Jeanette, Barry, you need to have Sheldon Daniels on your show. He's running against Jasmine Crockett. He's on the show tomorrow. It's funny. Good thinking. I haven't had time lately, but the chat room and live shows is fun and exciting, hilarious. I enjoyed everyone's comments. Paid for with Dogecoin profit. Booyah! Helen Tower, I'm in Virginia, and we only get 29% turnout on elections during non-presidential elections. We make calls and knock doors. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. Donna, AOC was the one who said out loud in an interview, everybody in Congress is guilty of insider trading. I'm searching for that video. Yes, I do recall it, and now you're going to make me search for it. I will. I will find it. Max Body, was that the governor of Michigan? No, Bruce Jenner. I thought you were asking a question. Yes, that was Gretchen Whitmer. Johnny, they aren't talking about black Americans. They talk about the people coming across the border. Indeed. But they talk as if they're talking about black Americans. Donna, these people aren't educated enough to talk to O'Leary. Notice how quiet they were without any interruptions. He was backing up everything Trump said. Nope. They have no idea. And that's one of the things that I talk about a lot, is they say Trump is stupid, he doesn't know what he's doing, yet none of these people, none of them, have actually run a business, the dude built skyscrapers. You have to be a complete moron not to drive through New York and go, oh, he did that? Yeah. So he had to, it's beyond me how these people are so dumb. So dumb. Burger Boys, Paycheck, Ben Affleck, Reverse Engineer movie. Ed Sloan, hey Barry, you were on Nancy Mace's page today. I loved it. You'll be in the White House soon. We as the Fanfare family know it. Yeah, Ashley told me that I made it. She tweeted one of my videos. Maybe Lara Trump will talk to her father-in-law. Captain Danny Barrow, do as they may, they cannot stop what's coming. Completely. Yep. Tilly, they either took a red blue pill, corrupted, or threatened, period. Mary Kellums, the investigations have already started, I just read. Well, it's useless. It's completely useless. They have no subpoena power, so they're done. Tilly, is there a difference being on a laptop for YouTube to being on a tablet? I feel so left out because the scrolling goes too fast for me. I have never looked at it on a tablet. On a laptop, it's pretty much the same. The speed of the comments. We'll start looking at doing slow mode more often. Tinley, I think when Trump says he and Elon were on target of deep state, he refers to people bought by China in the U.S. Look at where China bought our farmland. Good point. Captain Danny, thank you. Robin Ashley, thank you. And the mods. John, element of surprise. Yes. Neo, winning more, not enough for Trump. Love it. Trump is the 18, Patty Seabold says. And Raul Carrasquillo, Barry, please, my wife tells me all I want to do is watch your show. Please help. your wife is right. You're watching the show, and thank you very much. Don't let her talk you out of it. In fact, I'm looking right now. I'm like, it's 10:30. I hope Robin's still up. She might be done. She might be done for the evening and everything. So tomorrow, I'll get Trump's schedule early, but other than that, I'll probably do something, I don't know, one-ish or something, once I see where he's going to be, and that way I can figure out how we're going to react to this. And because when I say react to this, to the bombings, I'm sure that's going to be in the news. The stock market, because SV just showed you, overseas is tanking, which means the open, let me see what the implied, if you guys ever want to search, look for implied open stock market. Let's see if they have an implied open. Pre-market trading. Hold on one second. Where are we? All right, so the pre-market trading, where this is how you can check what are they looking. We want the United States. All right, so pre-market as of right now, it's showing the Dow Jones is going to be $1,000 negative. 1,000 points negative. Nasdaq minus 37. So tomorrow is going to be probably a bloodbath. Except, look what looks like it's going to be trending up tomorrow. You seeing this? Gold is trending up. You know why this is happening this way? Oh, let me just tell you. You know why that's happening? Because gold trades 24 hours a day. So if people are seeing right now that the Asian and Australian markets are looking down, I bet you if you look at gold price right now, boom. Here, let me. I need to show this to you. Hold on, SV. Wait a second. Let me just move this over so people can look at this. Since gold trades 24/7, oh crap, I messed up here. Move this window over here. All right, so you can see it's moving right now. It's up 2% right now, plus 60 cents or plus $60 actually, and it's going up and up, because of the uncertainty in the other markets. So a lot of this stuff isn't really hard to understand if you're looking at it and if they're up, if the implied open is down, which it is, and if the other markets like Asia and stuff are down, and then this just happened, SB sent me. All right, so let's look at this. Xi launches charm offensive as Trump tariffs rattle Asia. Chinese leaders swooping into Malaysia, Vietnam, and Cambodia right when Trump's import taxes have regional economies sweating. Xi's message couldn't be clearer. Beijing offers stability while Washington brings chaos. No blockbuster deals expected as host nations carefully balance relations between both superpowers. Local leaders must now master diplomatic gymnastics, smile at Xi while still texting Washington and basically behind his back. So there's a whole lot going on. So expect tomorrow. You're going to wake up and the media is going to be, their hair will be on fire. They are going to be screaming. They're going to forget everything that happened in the last 24, 48 hours and like, it's crashing again. Don't fall for it. Ignore it. Go touch grass. Do whatever you need to do. Don't even deal with it. And whatever you do, if this thing starts dipping tomorrow again, don't sell. Hold. You should be okay. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. After party is next.